My boyfriend is about to propose, but I've been hiding a massive secret.
Oh, how massive.
Using a throwaway account because he is a Redditor, so he might see this. With some identifying info left out and a few timeline details smudged to stay anonymous. This is a hugely emotional story, and I am crying as I write this. Many of the details I have kept secret for years and have not told a soul. Going from 0 to 100 real quick. This is a story where I am unquestionably in the wrong, and I've known about it for years.
Self-aware and rare.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Liar too. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So first off, we have an amazing relationship. I love him more than I can ever hope to describe, and I want to spend the rest of my life with him. Eventually, we had kids, and we want to grow old together. Other than this admittedly huge thing, I want to know what the huge thing is. I have no reservations after over 6 years together. So for a little backstory, I have stereotypical Asian parents where success and results in school were extremely important from an early age. I realized in middle school that if I didn't tell them about bad grades, then I wouldn't feel ashamed of disappointing them. You've learned to lie.
What a solution!
I developed a slacker attitude through high school, but managed to do well enough through smart laziness to get into university. I wanted to study engineering. Sorry for being vague.
Niche university, niche degree.
Yeah, niche degree. We love these niche degrees.
Oh, yeah.
So the summer after our high school graduation is when we started dating. High school sweethearts. That's pretty sweet.
It can be great or it can be dangerous.
At this point, I left for college, and he stayed back in our hometown to take classes in community college. We were able to continue our relationship semi-long distance. My dorm was less than a 2-hour drive away, and we took turns visiting each other at nearly every weekend. Through a series of non-relevant poor decisions on my part, I did poorly in school and was put on academic probation.
Uh-oh.
We got a bad kid. I ended up moving back home for a year, taking classes at the community college. I was terribly depressed and did poorly, but lied to my parents that I did well. The simple solution to all of your problems: lie. And ended up telling my boyfriend this as well. My justification at the time was that I did not want him to have to cover for me. In hindsight, this is unfortunately where my spiral of lying about my education became a habit. Yikes.
The ICUs they're popping up above the bush.
If you guys see those ICUs, tell us.
Let us know.
By saying ICU.
Oh, God.
Well, his application to transfer and my application to resume school were accepted for the fall semester, and we both moved. Separately, I would have liked to move in with him, but knew my parents would never allow it. We moved to the town where the university is located. To be able to continue at school after the semester, I would have to get good enough grades to pull my GPA out of the gutter, or else I'd be academically suspended due to the damage I had done to my GPA the original first semester. At this point, I had resolved to unalive myself if I couldn't get the next semester. OP, and anyone going through rough college or high school stuff, the grade is not everything. There is life after an F.
Yes.
I assure you. I mean, just look at John, you know.
Dude, I'm an idiot.
John,
but I made it, baby.
John did not do a tectonic plate class.
No.
Yet here he is. You don't need to know about tectonic plates to frickin' do well in life.
I know about content.
He knows about content. He's got a PhD in TikTok.
Yeah.
And that will get you further than knowing about the plates.
Exactly.
So again, it's not that deep. School, I did amazing in my degree classes, but ended up ignoring my other classes because I was not interested in them, despite what was at stake. I ended up doing better than my first semester, but not good enough to prevent academic suspension. I am through. I will not be able to continue school in fall. My habit punts in, and I smile and tell everyone that I did well, as I am wondering to myself how I will unalive myself. Over the summer, though, I find that he is my reason to live, this boyfriend, that I could never unalive myself because I know it would hurt him so deeply. I pretend that summer will never end, that I will never have to deal with the reality that I have failed out of school. Much to my surprise, near the end of the summer, I get a move-in packet for the university-owned apartments that I had stayed in last semester and had planned to move back into for the next school year. It is a condition on the lease to stay in these apartments that you must have a minimum of 12 credit hours at the university to live there, but due to some fluke, they did not know that I would not be taking classes due to my suspension. So OP might be able to like still lie that she's going to school.
Wow. And just like
The lie continues.
make it in there.
Yeah, I mean, because she's like, she could still just go to class
Yeah.
and stay in the university housing.
Wow. I see this becoming more precarious.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately.
Oh, boy.
Sam, do you want to do a trigger warning for that?
Trigger warning, depression and self-harm. It is vague enough that I feel like maybe it's okay, but
That may have been the only mention of it. But,
yeah, I think that was the only mention.
But still, I'll put that in the notes.
But I've not told anyone about my suspension, so the path of least resistance is to move back into the apartments. Okay. I devised an elaborate lie to my parents about how I wish to pay my own tuition through loans so they can afford to put my sister through school next year. Oh my God.
Getting deeper.
This is not stopping. They are so proud of me. I perish a little on the inside knowing what I'm doing. Oh, the next 2 years are amazing for me and my significant other because I don't actually have any classes to attend or homework to do. It's like all the benefits of school without the school.
All
I am
right.
able to spend a lot of time with him, much more time than would be possible otherwise, especially with me supposedly in a tough engineering program. But he doesn't notice, and we are madly in love. Despite my laziness and terrible work ethic, I'm actually very good at math and tutor him through both calculus and physics. Due to feeling useful in some way, as well as significantly helping someone I deeply love, I slowly get over my self-loathing and can view myself as something other than the useless pile of nothing I previously thought I was. I brush off questions of how my own classes are going with lies I've been telling for over a decade at this point. Again, the OP started lying in high school. I'm doing well. I got an A- on my midterm. Homework was long, but I'm done now. I have only vague plans for how I will end the lie at this point. I tell myself that I will work up the courage to tell my parents I am failing and will be quitting school, but as time goes on, I just keep telling the small lies that my education is going well. Then after Christmas, disaster strikes out of the blue. The apartment manager has found out that I am not enrolled in any classes. I realize, though, after speaking with him, that he cannot see my transcript, but only my current enrollment status. Do you think OP is going to tell the truth?
Oh, I wish it were so.
No.
not.
I lie to him and say that it was last semester that I had difficulty, and I am in the process of enrolling in night classes to repair my GPA. OP is quick with it. OP is quick with it.
I mean, she's had it, bro.
She's
she
had
has
years.
a decade of experience. Put that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, dude.
I have a decade of experience in lying.
I mean, you could be a lawyer or like, I don't know, what else?
Who else lies?
con man?
Criminals? I don't know.
Criminals.
Yeah, work for
Crypto
the
scammer?
mafia. or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
I am in the process of enrolling in night classes to repair my GPA. There is a clause in the lease allowing for this. I enroll in night classes, but have no motivation to take classes that won't count towards my degree. So at least OP is in night classes, but she's not taking. Selection is very limited, and I realize that this is only a temporary solution. I realize my only way out of this is to move out of these apartments, and seeing as our relationship is now almost 4 years old, I decide with my boyfriend to move in with him in a new apartment of our own next semester. So again, instead of OP telling the truth that she's been kicked out of school, for 2 years now?
It looks like 2 years.
Almost 2 years, is that
Yeah.
right? I'm going crazy.
Almost about 2 years. Yeah.
Almost 2 years. She's like, I'll just say I'm going to be living with my boyfriend, and then I'll never have to tell the truth.
I wonder what she's doing all day. Like,
Dude, she's chilling.
And
she's hanging out with
also-
her boyfriend.
did I catch this right? That she was like, "Oh, I can take out the loans to be able to," because she's. I mean, granted, she's just paying for housing, but
My understanding is, no, I think she's like, hey, parents, you don't take out loans for me. I'm going to pay it all myself.
right.
Uh,
Oh man,
Oh,
man.
For the first time in my life, I openly defy the wishes of my parents and tell them that I am moving in with them. They complain, worry about how it will go, but because I've decided to get a job to pay for my half of the rent, they cannot stop me. For the first time in my life, my own desires have won out over my parents. I guess that's progress in some way.
That is progress in some way. I will say that.
Maybe this will be like the kick in the pants, her caught on fire pants, to finally tell her parents more things that will make them upset. Like, I've been lying for you for the past 2 years.
Could be. It could be.
At this point, I'm ready to end my college charade, but I come to the horrifying truth. My previous exit plan for the lie, to fake a later dropout, will now make my parents hate my significant other. They will think that it is his fault. I'm also too scared to expose the lie as well because I know he will be disappointed. I've been lying to him too, both to prevent him from having to lie for me to others. Up to this point, though, it has only been a huge amount of small lies about being in class or how I was doing in school. I mean, but like, it's not small lies.
It's your whole. I mean,
it's like, oh, like John, like ask me what I was up to today.
oh, what are you up to today?
Oh, like we had just like, some small operations we had to do on the ISS. Like I had to use like a wrench to fix one of the nuts on the outside of the spaceship. Just,
You're
small thing.
screwing nuts in space.
Screwing nuts in space.
That's that sounds
my
dangerous.
That's my job. That's my job.
Really?
Screwing nuts in space.
Really, it wasn't us like sitting in a room like working on all.
No. Screwing nuts in space. You might think that just because
Right.
like I go back and forth often.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but
multitask.
See, that is not a little lie.
That's pretty big.
It's a big lie about how I'm an astronaut in space working on the ISS. This is a big lie.
It like feeds down into everything in their life because like, oh, like, are we gonna? I feel like it just makes him ask, like you said earlier, what else is there? If you could lie about this, where's the trust in the relationship?
And where's the end of the lie? I mean, I feel like OP's identity is that of a student. She's lying about her entire, like a huge part of her identity.
Yeah.
All right. Question for chat. Question for you, John.
Talk to me.
Let's say OP comes clean
Yes.
and you are the partner.
Yes.
You staying or you breaking up? There's more to this story, by the way, but are you staying or are you breaking up? I want to know from chat. Maybe, Keon, can we do a little poll? Staying or breaking up, John?
I think the question here is, can trust be rebuilt?
I thought the question was staying or breaking up. The real question,
real question is,
your question
dude,
can go kick rocks.
Dude, I haven't
But
had a
my
real question in a while.
The real question.
Yeah. Probably not. I think this is probably too insurmountable. I also wonder how reliable of a narrator we have.
Yeah, I know.
If there weren't other lies sprinkled in.
I mean, if she's lying, she could be lying about how much she's lying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think just not enough trust. I don't know if it can make it. Might have to break up.
Yeah, I'm in breakup camp if I'm BF. So far, 100% of chat is in breakup. One person.
Storm Kitten.
We're calling you out. Storm Kitten, explain yourself.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
Yeah.
But no.
That's crazy, Storm Kitten.
And the Ed boy.
Ed boy, what are you doing? Josephine, what are you doing? I feel like y'all are
now they're just doing it to mess with us.
they're just doing it to mess with us. There's no way.
Yeah. Riled up.
Well, most people like Natalie Nola and the Lawyer Princess and Jenny Gardner, like normal people,
yes.
It seems like they would break up.
If it was a few days, if it was a few weeks, different story.
Yeah.
Way too long.
2 years.
Way
That's
too
like most of their relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's like do some counseling and then maybe break up. Anyway, 80% of chat says break up.
There we go.
Well, I know in the back of the head I will have to lie more, but I ignore the thought. We move in together and it is a wonderful summer. This is the part I am most ashamed about, not all the other stuff.
Oh, here we go.
The fall semester starts, and I now have to lie to him more than my parents. I come up with a fake schedule and make sure to be out of the apartment at these times every week, and somehow I'm still able to get campus meal plans, so we eat lunch on campus daily. I pretend my old textbooks are new and keep a binder full of old tests. His major isn't engineering. He can't tell the difference and doesn't suspect anything. The lies are too easy. Now she's gloating. I don't like this at all. We have a wonderful year living together and connect at a deeper level than I even previously thought possible. He eventually graduates, and I notice some holes in the process and realize that I can easily fake my own graduation next year. Bro, dude, I feel like OP's just going to get an engineering job. I feel like OP's going to fake a graduation, fake a resume, and all right. How often are like maybe the big engineering companies are like,
yeah,
all right, let me check like with the school. I have never had a job check my GPA. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
I didn't have a GPA to check.
Yeah. Yeah, see, you don't need a GPA.
Yeah. But no, it's like, could she essentially like get in to a job? I mean, this is, if you guys have heard of quiet quitting, like this is an extreme version, but she could go find like someone else essentially to like contract a lot of this work out to, like a developer, and then like basically
she could hire a developer to do her work.
Dude.
I know a guy that did that at Google. Or a guy. I know a guy who knows a guy
yeah.
who did that at Google and got fired.
Yeah, this is. I think she's reaching. Not that I thought it could happen, but even more dangerous levels. This is getting spooky.
This is getting spooky. And dude, I feel like this is the first time she's like kind of proud of it. She's like, and
Yes.
no one suspected a thing. Well, we stay in the same apartment while I finish school and he gets a job. My graduation, in air quotes, comes around. I buy the robes, the caps, the tassel, the graduation announcement, etc. There are too many students for them to do any personal ceremony. You just sit through the ceremony and then walk on stage and hand them your card, and they read your name and degree from the card. My whole family comes, as well as his. Oh my God! And we have all become very close at this point. His mother even spent Thanksgiving with our family, if that is your real family.
Oh, God.
His parents are divorced. I prepared a fake card using his form from last year. The announcer reads it. Who would suspect that I did not actually graduate when there is video evidence of me on stage shaking the dean's hand? I walk off the stage with my empty diploma cover. Actual diplomas are mailed later. We celebrate and everyone is so proud of me. I almost believe it myself that I've graduated. Holy crap! Ganoda says, she is way too good at this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and just to assuage any disbelief about being able to sneak into a graduation, there's a pretty big YouTuber that snuck into the UCLA graduation and walked and got his name read out.
Dude, I was about to say, I think we need to go get like a Harvard, Yale. I think we just need to go get all the degrees.
Dude, I think so. I think so. Dude, collect every degree. We're going to be the most pedigreed men in all of history.
Why not?
Why not, bro? My God. Also, though, but sitting through those UCLA graduations, there's like 40,000, not 40, there's like 10,000 people. And it's just like, it's so boring.
Was yours fun?
Huh?
Was yours fun, your
No.
graduation ceremony?
No, it was so boring.
Christian and I had a really good time at our graduation ceremony.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you had some shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
We also had fireworks and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ours was so lame, bro. Dang. Well, I almost believe it myself that I've graduated. And now we get to now. We have moved. And we both have great jobs. Well, I've managed to get a good job without a degree, and I have fudged the details to friends and families, telling them that the reason I have a job that doesn't match my degree is that I enjoy it more. But we've been talking lately about our future. We put off any specifics until after my graduation, but now that it's passed, we've gotten the serious talk out of the way. I know it's coming soon, and when he asks, I will be saying yes, but my big lie weighs on me. Other than the big lie, the most I've ever lied to him was the various white lies we tell to everyone we know. I've made it a point of it. I feel too guilty from the big one, and I know how hard it would be to stop if I started. The guilt is bad, and I think if I told him, he might even understand, and we could still have a future together. Even if it was the end of our relationship, I am a stronger person than I once was. Even if it is too much for our relationship, I know I wouldn't want to unalive myself out of the shame like I had wanted in the past. Those days are over. But if my family finds out, they won't understand. It will destroy what I now have with them, what they have with him. And if I tell him, either they find out too, or he becomes part of the lie. I don't want to put him through that, and I don't want to do either option. The easy choice is to take this secret, my big secret lie, to the grave. Because of my chosen career path, I don't think it will ever come up that I lack a degree. My employers know that I have partial college. It would be so easy to keep that fact in the dark. But even though our amazing relationship is otherwise free of lies, I feel so wrong knowing that this huge one exists. I feel cornered between hurting someone no matter what I do. And here is a summary of what I feel my choices are. We're going to get into those choices.
Yes.
That OP feels like they have. All right, here's a summary of what I feel my choices are. Choice 1, come clean to him first, and then to the rest of the family. He's going to break up. I would break up with this person.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I would break up. So, result, either we split or my family disowns me because I have lied to them so thoroughly for so long. I lied to their faces to keep the deception, and I am forever a disappointment to them. Both our lives are torn apart, even if our relationship survives. Choice 2, come clean to him and swear to secrecy. Result, either we split or I have now made him lie forever, tainting our relationship. This is a choice I refuse to take. Choice 3, I tell no one and hope it never comes to light. Result, I feel guilty for years, but gradually, maybe the guilt fades. If the lie comes out, It could be even worse, especially if we have kids when it does. I just don't know what to do. I know that I am in the wrong here, and I hope not too many people will dwell on that. I would change the past if I could, but that is impossible. I just don't know what to do. Do I come clean and destroy what we have, or do I take the easy path and continue the path I've been on for years? Edit, I'm headed to work, so I won't be able to respond until after my lunch break. There is more, but yeah, I mean, I think if you've built a life based on a lie, that's just going to suck. It's just going to suck.
Too much of a load to bear.
Yeah, dude, I cannot lie. I think I just burned it out of my tool set.
Yeah. You're a great truther.
And dude, I tell the truth too much. I tell the truth way too much, and it's way better than lying because at least everyone knows where you stand.
Yeah.
And so I could not fathom this amount to lie.
Dude.
But I would say the solution, if you are trying to get rid of the guilt and you're trying to live your best life, yes, it might be hard in the short term, but I really do think putting this in the light will build a better long-term future for you.
Yeah. And honestly, the chances are slim. I do think there is a chance that the boyfriend might understand.
I also think there's a chance. I also think there's a chance that the parents don't disown her.
Yeah. You know what? There's I think a good takeaway from the story is you never know what someone is going to respond with until you actually tell them.
And and don't speak for your family and your boyfriend. You know?
Totally.
I think you start with telling the boyfriend and see how that feels, and then eventually tell the parents. Kimberly Vine says, I'm not entirely convinced that it is actually possible. With this track record, she could probably pull off a time machine. Yeah, she is. I feel like she's got that engineering brain keeping track of all these lies.
Honestly.
I think what's weird about telling the truth all the time is sometimes the truth of action changes because we change. That feels deep.
Yes.
What does that mean, John, to you?
Maybe it's we change sometimes. So our
personal truths change.
In living our truths, maybe that changes. But yeah, that's as far as I can get.
I Bleed Red Bull 32 says, I'm staying. I can build the trust I've caught into the lie bunks and never brought it up. I hate confrontation. I get too angry. But let's see what the end of this story says. Edit 2, I've been reading everyone's messages for a couple hours, and I want to thank everyone for all of them, both the understanding and supporting ones and the negative ones too. You guys have said a lot of stuff that I needed to hear. Knowing that this situation is more common than I thought makes me feel like less of a sleazeball. This is common?
Uh-oh.
But I've also taken it to a crazy extreme. By the way, if you want to take us to a crazy extreme, you could go from just watching this little video to listening to 53 straight days of our podcast. Go to the extreme. Put us in your ear holes 24/7, whispering sweet nothings into your ear by listening to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the iHeart app, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm coming to the realization that I do have some sort of problem. Yes. And I need some sort of help. Yes.
Yeah.
I've always hated the idea of psychologists and mind-altering substances, and I always thought of therapists in the same way. But from what I have read in your comments, it sounds like this isn't the case, and I need to look into that seriously. I'll update more later, but I do want to tell him, but I'm not in the right mental state right now to do so, and that is where that story ends.
I'm checking if there's an update.
Yes.
Wow.
Please tell me there is an update, but holy moly, guac to the moly.
I mean, technically speaking, just in the universe of this story, she got away with it.
She got away with it. She pulled off the heist.
She said, catch me if you can, and they didn't.
Man, I think, again, if this isn't a poster child for telling the truth, is it a poster child for telling?
I think it's a poster child for lying, bro.
I don't know.
She's the most successful liar
She is
ever.
successful, but she feels bad about it.
How bad does she feel, though?
She feels bad enough to write, however long that story was.
Yeah,
that's a long story.
I think you're right. I think it's weighing on her.
I think it's weighing on her. I mean, that's a lot of lies.
Insane journey, and even more insane that she made it all the way through without telling anyone or it getting out.
Well, question for you guys. What do you think Opie should do? Tell the lie or tell the truth? Put your answer in the comments below. But Johnny Bahami.
Yes, sir.
Or Keon, do we have another story?
There's another story, yes. But update? There's no update.
No update.
It's just comments of her saying, like, yeah, my job accepted me. They don't need a college degree. And that's about it. There's no update on the boyfriend.
That's it.
That's
also,
all she wrote.
All right, boys, you ready for this next one? Yes, so let's go.
My boyfriend is jealous of my twin brother. Our closeness weirds him out.
How close are we talking here? Are we talking like this close or like this close?
So my boyfriend apparently watches a lot of Game of Thrones.
You don't want to be compared to that as siblings.
Cersei and Jaime Lannister. I see my brother once or twice per month. When we see each other, we may have lunch, catch a movie, take a walk, or just punt back at his apartment or mine and watch movies, play video games, or just have some brews and catch up. By the way, this comes from BF Loves Go Thrones Too Much. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I see my brother 3 to 4 times per week, at least on a good month. We see each other probably more than 20 to 30 days. We've been together for 14 months. My boyfriend has met my brother several times at first. I thought they were cool. My brother honestly got that vibe as well. Beyond hanging out a few times initially, my boyfriend never really hung out with my brother when he was in town, despite me asking, as well as my brother inviting him along. However, recently he brought it up to me that he was not comfortable with us hanging out so much alone, and it made him feel weird. He has asked me not to be alone with my brother when we do hang out, and if that's not possible, and it will just be us, then he doesn't like that idea. I reiterate, my boyfriend clearly watches too much Game of Thrones because he seems to have some assumption there is some sort of weird genetic copy pasting going on or something. My brother and I have always been close and had each other's backs. That's it. We live our own lives, but we love each other and make an effort to maintain a good relationship, especially as our own lives begin to move off in separate directions despite only living a few hours apart. I have no idea what it is or why he would want me to do this. He's not giving me a reason beyond, I don't feel comfortable with you hanging out with that guy.
With that guy? It's my twin brother. This guy definitely got like red pilled.
There was a photo on Instagram of the two of us on a hike, along with my brother's friend. I damaged my ankle a couple months back on that hike, and my brother carried me on his back on the rest of the way. His friends took photos because it simply looked funny, but my boyfriend pretty much dislikes those and says it's really weird that you are all 20-something and are so close. For F's sake, he is my brother and I was injured. Yes, I am angry at my boyfriend because he asked me to stop hanging out alone with my brother. I do not appreciate the implications. Reddit, what do you think of the situation? What do you think I should do? We got relevant comments. Webblewomble says, most crazy boyfriends start forbidding contact with non-relatives before getting to this level of paranoia. Congrats on finding an overachiever, I guess. OP, thanks, I suppose. Little Stray, Lord. Next, he'll be uncomfortable with you wearing underwear because the textile is too close to your genitals. And what's that cotton spandex blend got that's so special that he lacks? Thank him for being honest with you and let him know that you'll be patient while he works on getting a grip and recognizing that many people are close with their siblings, and that is both normal and awesome. Then continue appreciating your closeness with your brother and being thankful you have someone who will always have your back. OP says exactly. I know people who are absolutely wish they had a sibling or two they're as close with as I am with my brother. Of course, my boyfriend has a couple younger brothers and one elder sister, and they aren't really close, so I don't know what if that's got a bit to do with it.
And there it is, folks. So I think that's part of it. And then, of course, the other part is just this guy's incapable of, I guess, not seeing every other man as a threat to his relationship.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
I've been there. We've all been there. Like the guy she tells you not to worry about. It's just that, in my case, it's never been her actual twin brother because you don't have to worry about that.
Deleted said, I think you really need to reconsider being in a relationship with someone who can't separate fantasy from reality. OP says he really doesn't watch Game of Thrones beyond a few episodes. He's just really religious, etc. Doesn't watch inappropriate stuff I just thought it'd be a funny title for a funny/awkward situation. So that was just fake.
I think my boyfriend's been watching a little Game of Thrones.
That was just fake?
Clearly he did see, I mean, you only need to see one episode to learn about that.
Where he pushes the little boy?
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
The things I do for love.
Deleted says, but as it stands, your boyfriend is still jealous of your brother, which is weird. Have you asked him why he thinks it's weird that you're so close to your brother? Opie says he just says it's uncomfortable. However, my brother can be loud and has a bit of a commanding presence. He's one of those people in a room that tend to gravitate to. Also, he and I are more outdoorsy type. We've done hiking, swimming, and dancing together. Mom forced him to go because I wanted to, then forced me to go to karate for a while with him. I dropped out quick though, but we did continue dancing and swimming for a long time, and both actually made a number of good friends through those activities. My boyfriend is always up for trying stuff once, but generally, he's a stay-at-home, loves the indoors, tends to garden type, and he's an old soul, I suppose. I don't know if that's relevant. I think that kind of shows what kind of relationship you have. You can have opposites.
Yeah.
This amount of opposites, outdoorsies and gardening.
Yeah, it's hard. You don't have to be with like a clone of yourself in a relationship, but it's like if you fundamentally are like I like to go outdoors, I like to be outside, I like to go do things, and you have someone else who's like the exact opposite of that, it's going to be hard to find cohesion.
We got an update. So this past Friday, I had a talk with my significant other about his feelings regarding my relationship with my twin. At first, it was the same. I just don't feel comfortable, etc. But after pushing for a very frustrating 2 hours, he ends up talking about how in the home he grew up in, it was very reserved.
Okay.
Affection was sparing, the equivalent of getting a present for doing well on exams, etc. It was used as a reward. He admits that as a result, he sees siblings who are close, especially as close as my brother and I, as being inappropriate, and it makes him feel uncomfortable. He says he's sorry for this and he will try to change. Anyways, fast forward to Saturday evening, my brother and I and a few of our old friends are in the area, so they invite me, my significant other, and a couple of our friends out. We ended up hitting this Latin bar restaurant with about 3 couples, 2 single girls, and 3 single guys. My brother and I, and another 2, one of the single gals who we met Latin dancing a few years back, decided we'll dance since there's music playing and a few other people dancing. It's no Dancing with the Stars kind of stuff, by the way. These are all people who have been drinking and just having a merry time, and those who aren't dancing are either watching and having fun as well. So my brother and I dance for a bit. We stumble here, and due to some liquor, a couple of times it looked is the word, I suppose, but nothing inappropriate. If any of you have done Latin dancing, you know there's just something sensual and free about those dances in general, whether you're with a partner or just doing a little something by yourself, though generally you are with a partner. Anyway, I dance with a few people, including my other female friends and their boyfriends, who don't really know how, but we all have a blast with me, trying and failing, to teach their wasted butts how to cha-cha and salsa. I also pulled my boyfriend for a dance, but he remained planted by the bar area, drinking and generally staying stony-faced. We get back to his place. I'm in the mood to fool around. He's angry and starts yelling about how we talked yesterday, and he thought this effing crap, exact words, was over. Oh, like the flirtation vibes and stuff like that. I'm gonna just be real. I don't think your boyfriend knows how to handle a very self-confident woman.
Yeah, I don't think he knows how to handle the concept of like competition.
Yeah.
He's getting it all wrapped up. He's competing with the brother, that's not the same.
Dude, hear me out. B, Josh Allen with Haley Steinfeld
with a T.
Steinfeld, because they were on set together with Michael B. Jordan, and Josh Allen, he's like, I don't care. I got Haley. At the end of the night, I'm with Haley.
Right.
Rather than being Ryan Reynolds with Blake Lively, because you saw what Ryan Reynolds did to John.
What?
Do you not know about that? The whole Ryan Reynolds fiasco?
I know there was something with like a director.
No, it was with an actor.
With Blake Lively?
No. It was another actor. Because Ryan Reynolds got jealous. Anyways, Ryan Reynolds is a jealous type. Be Josh Allen. That's all I gotta say.
You're really putting me in a tough spot because I can't stand for slander for either of those guys. But you did talk up Josh Allen, so I'm just going to take that as a W.
Okay.
I love Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling.
After you see what happened, it's like, you need to dive deep into it. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
I'm just not going to see.
All right. Anyways, he is quite pissed and starts ranting. If you want to F your brother so bad, go ahead, and is basically telling me that he knows I love my brother and that I always effing put that a-hole exact words first. I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, man, I've been done, honestly. Like, clearly it's a product of the environment you grew up in. However, that's not an excuse to just be, like, unaware of, like, positive family dynamics. And it's just really, really, really intense insecurity. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Very intense insecurity.
I agree with that.
Which means you can't be in a relationship.
You're going to have to get over this. Call everyone that you just went dancing with and be like, help me move out if you're living with this man.
Oh, I hope not.
He says he would never do something like that with his sister in front of me or other people dancing. At a point, he shoved me away from him really hard when I tried to put my hands on him and calm him down. I got effing pissed off. I go to leave. He grabs me and is yelling. At a point, I start crying and he seems to snap out of it and gets the shocked look and starts saying, I'm sorry, and trying to hug me, etc. He's apologizing profusely, but now I storm out. Naturally, I go back to my place and I call, yes, my twin brother as well as one of my friends, a girl. The three of us proceed to get wasted together. Woke up on my bed next to my friend and my brother snoozing on my couch Sunday. Boyfriend came over to try and explain and apologize. I told him I don't want to see him. He pushes into my apartment.
Jail.
My brother gets in his face and tells him to F off and not to come near me again, while his other friend who came over along with his girlfriend is there too. At this point, it's me, my best female friend, my brother, brother's friend, brother's friend's girlfriend, and ex-boyfriend. And the only reason he's not getting his beat is because I asked him not to do so. I tell him it's done and not to contact me or come near me again. And guys, you can come near me and us whenever you want. All you got to do is after this story, go to your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever, and come on over and type in OK Storytime.
You heard it.
Come on. There's so many stories. But yeah, that turned really quick.
Well, that guy's lucky he did not end up, eating food through a straw.
I saw Boondocks Saints.
The movie? Yeah, with Norman Reedus.
I watched it last night. I'm surprised he didn't get like a toilet hit him in the back of the head. Remember that scene?
I have to say it. I haven't seen Boondock Saints. I just know who's in it. Now I've been exposed as one who doesn't know movies. But yeah, no, it's the being like, get off me. The hard shoving, getting into the apartment. Again, lucky you're not eating through a straw right now. However, not condoning that. I'm just saying when you get aggressive with someone's twin sister right in front of their face, you're lucky that they're not getting into a physical altercation with you. And it seems to be just because OP was like, let's not do that. That would just make everything worse, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's nowhere near ready to be in a relationship if he thinks Latin dancing between siblings is inappropriate. Massive insecurity, and hopefully he can work on that and find a partner he likes, and OP will find someone who's not so aggressively insecure.
Yeah. Also, a part of me has to admit I danced with my brother simply to get a rise out of my boyfriend due to how much crap he'd been giving me over it. Did not know he would lose it like that. It is what it is. OP come back and edits the update afterwards in the comments section. Yes, I danced with my brother partially to get a rise out of my boyfriend. I've been so fed up of him and the crap he's been giving me that honestly I wanted to annoy him a little. So to the people judging me for that, don't act so high and mighty as if though you've never had a moment where you have been 100% an angel who just rolled over and took verbal and unjustified nagging and questioning from your significant other. To the people who implied I deserved him roughing me up, thank you. This says far more about your character than it does mine. I had no idea he'd lose his crap. I also hope by coming out with us, he'd see that it was just two people interacting and there was nothing strange about hanging out / being close with your sibling and doing fun activities together. I don't even know why I thought getting him to come was a good idea looking back. Yeah.
I see some comments. First of all, the fact that she did that to get a rise of her boyfriend is kind of a little bit of a yellow flag, a little red flag there. Because it's like, well, you're feeding into it. I mean, at the same time, it's like your boyfriend shouldn't be so maladjusted that he can't handle you dancing with your brother. And I see some comments being like, Latin dancing is like too hot for siblings. When you're Latin, that's just dancing.
Yeah.
It's not really, I think in like America, like white Caucasian like culture, like if you like look at Latin dancing, of course there's certain ways that you would dance, even if you were Latin, that you would not do with your siblings.
It's partner dancing.
I'm sure they weren't doing that. It's not a line dance.
If you're not comfortable with that, you just got to move on and be like, hey, I'm just not comfortable with someone being that close.
My boyfriend actively neglects responsibilities. I want to leave.
I think you should.
it's your responsibility to leave.
Ooh, get out of there, girl. I first met my 36 female boyfriend, 37 male, 5 years ago when I moved to a new state. I was staying with my family and we went shopping. He came to assist and I was kind of attracted to him from the jump. I have a type, tattoos, smart butt attitude, but in the funny way. A month later, I ended up working at the same store, not because of him, but because it was close to my family's house and the only place actively hiring at the start of the vid. By the way, this comes from Cultural Poet 4363, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I was not doing well before I moved. My grief over losing my mom had me in a chokehold. I was crashing on people's couches, drinking, doing substances, and just all around life. I talked to my family, jumped on a bus, and 3 days later, I moved to another state across the country to start over and try again. Wow. Fresh, clean
Fresh,
slate there.
clean start.
Hard reboot. Getting this job was the first big positive step forwards for me. So it took about 2 months of making excuses to stop and talk, some light social media stalking, and outright telling him I was interested before he finally realized I was flirting with him. I was laying it down. Some men do not understand when they are being flirted with.
It's usually 99% of men.
Yes.
We are so dumb.
It is
Unless
us.
you're kissing me on the mouth, I'm not sure.
Even then, we don't know if you're flirting with us and if you like us.
It's like, oh,
We do not
sorry
know.
you tripped. My bad. They're like, huh?
It's like you can literally say, we like you. And we're like, okay. Don't believe that.
So we went on our first date and we had so much fun. We talked about our lives. I told him a bit about my past. I found out his wasn't too far off, maybe even a little darker than my past. He sold me the story of his past with substances, a cheating ex, and how he had moved home because even though the house was quote unquote in his name, she was pregnant and he didn't want to punt her out. He made it sound like he owned said house. I have heard that story changed multiple times throughout the years, and I'm still not sure if I've ever even gotten the truth about that. He implied that he also moved home to help his parents out with paying bills. I later found out that his parents are very comfortable in their finances and he didn't pay them anything. Needless to say, I drank the Kool-Aid. Anyways, I fell hard and fast. We talked about buying a house together, which thank God I came to my senses, and we opted to get an apartment instead. And about 10 months into our relationship, we moved into our apartment. So yeah, not even a year in and they're living together.
That's a little quick.
A little quick. There were some behaviors that I knew I would have to help him grow out of: his gaming habits, general messiness, guy stuff. For time-saving purposes, I will not list everything that I learned in that first year and the 3 years since I've lived with him, but one thing became glaringly obvious. I fell in love with a giant man-child and a mama's boy. I learned that he was not just messy, he was dirty. Trash left all over the coffee table, food bits on the floor from late-night gaming snacks, leaving food out overnight, clothes staying wherever they land. I had never seen it before because his mom always picked up after him when he was living with them. We had multiple fights about his obsession with gaming, his inability to manage his money. He had one bill in his name, even though I gave him money for it. It would still be like, wow. And his insane jealousy because of his cheating ex. Meanwhile, over time, I was working my way up in the company. I went from a measly part-time position to full-time to a coveted sales position and eventually management. Dude, OP is making it happen.
Huge.
That's good stuff. Now I work with a division of corporate, still low on the totem pole, but already have my manager putting in recommendations for promotions for me. And I had never done this well at a job in my entire life. Mind you, this is coming from OP's like starting from scratch, getting like a retail job. So OP's like really made something. I never worked at a company for this long. I quit substances, rarely drank except for a few nights out with friends, and I managed to make, and I was so proud of myself for becoming an actual adult. I even had good credit again. Go.
Bravo.
When I got the sales position, he was jealous because even though he has the skill set to be successful in a role like that, he had a crappy attitude, was often late, and used BS excuses about a very manageable health thing to leave early. He made me feel so small about my promotion that I didn't even get to celebrate it.
Oh,
Another humongous
red flag.
Celebrate your partner.
Man is nothing but red flag.
Instead, I cried that night because apparently only way that anyone succeeded was because they kissed butt and no one was actually promoted for their skills. It was just a popularity game. I worked my butt off for that position. I showed up early, offered to stay late, helped anywhere and everywhere in that store, and had to deal with angry Karens with a smile on my face. To his credit, he felt bad and learned from that experience and has been happy for me with every position I've moved up to since then. But yeah, dude, if he's belittling you and making you cry when you get a promotion? Yeah, no. This is getting long, so let's fast forward. We're still renting, but we've moved into a house that was quite a bit more than our apartment, but we were doing well work-wise. He eventually left the company we worked for and ended up in a much better paying job. Also, our family had grown by 3 fur babies, and we needed more space. Now, I think about 6 months ago, he lost his job.
Gonna get jealous of OP probably for her job.
Oh, true. Good point. I told him to apply for unemployment, but his pride and ego, they got in the way. He always has an excuse that there's some sort of issue with his application, but I honestly don't think he even applied for it in the first 2 months. His parents were giving him money to go towards rent, but I was still picking up an extra $500 of household expenses every month. Now, at some point, he closed his bank account and never opened one again.
What? Okay.
I'm confused. All his money gets deposited into his dad's bank account, and then his mom would give him cash.
So not only is mommy folding your clothes, but she's also giving you an allowance?
And this man is like in his like mid-late 30s.
Unless this is for like crazy tax reasons, which I don't think it is. This is weird.
So strange. He barely put any effort into finding a job. Between his unemployment, being able to borrow off his parents, and me covering whatever was left, he was awfully comfortable just staying at home. I told him, I get it. I've been unemployed before, but if he's going to be home all day, he could pick up some house chores.
Maybe fold his own clothes for once.
Whoa, a radical idea.
Crazy.
And did he?
No, Diddy.
He is the king. Wow. He is the king of weaponized incompetence. He took one dedicated chore of doing the dishes, and he was still inconsistent on when that would actually get done. We started fighting more and more, and it became a weekly event.
Again, like something I think we've seen continually in the last few stories that we've read is you have bad times, and then you realize that there's problems. And then if you don't solve the problems, there will be good times that will make those problems less present, less in your face, but the problems will come up again. Like we've been seeing these problems again and again. And when the times are good, you just brush them under the rug, but the problems are still there. Like you're never going to have a good relationship if you keep ignoring these problems that are coming up.
They're stacking like his dirty dishes, girl.
Yeah.
And his dirty drawers.
Dirty drawers.
Not
skid mark drawers.
Now, remember me mentioning the gaming. I'm not against gaming, but he took it to a whole new level. He had a game room off in the garage. Last winter, he would be out there with a little electric heater, cranking up our electric bill. As the months started to get cold and our household stayed at a 1 to 1.5 income household, he was on unemployment, but making less than half what he was making when he was working. I told him he could bring his game into the living room to keep the electric bill down. That same night, he started sleeping on the couch, not because we fought and I made him. He does it because he plays until 2 or 3 a.m., gets off the game, watches people play other games on YouTube, and falls asleep.
Get a job.
The routine of champions. God.
There's got to be better guys out there, right?
Bro has so far 0 redeeming qualities.
He's got to be hot, right? Because there's, yeah. Yeah.
I can't lift it. It's too much.
For our audio listeners, John is holding a hog right now.
It's an elephant right now.
Now that's pain is growth, okay? That's pain is growth.
Good callback, John.
That was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Our relationship honestly feels like we are roommates at this point. He's working again, trying to take the job hunt seriously. I took away his game controllers and threatened to sell them.
Are you his mom?
You are his mom.
You're his mom.
You took away his game. No games until you apply to jobs.
And threatened to sell it to put towards bills.
Then you get this cookie if you're a good boy.
Oh, God. And you know what, too? This is actually a great example of like when you don't like address the real things. Now OP is like probably not her ideal self, you know, of like, oh, taking the controllers and threatening to sell. Like you don't become your ideal person when
you're mommified.
Yeah, when you're mommified, but still making considerably less, meaning I am continuing to overextend ourselves to cover our monthly expenses. My credit has taken a hit because I'd missed payments due to having to cover so much of the expenses. After almost 5 years together, 4 years of me managing all the expenses, cooking, cleaning, laundry, and doing most of the work to care for all of our fur babies, I had a moment of clarity where I realized I'm done.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yes, you realize that you shouldn't be the mother of this man.
Did it?
I mean, she didn't do anything. She just realized it, but hopefully that comes with action.
Yes.
That's
you
the first step.
realized
That's
it.
the first step.
You
Realizing is
realized
the
it.
first step.
Yes. I never signed up to raise a man who still acts like a teenager. Something I did mention, but is worth noting, is when we would fight, 90% of the time, it would escalate because of him. I'm a talker. He starts yelling, throwing things, not me.
It sounds like a 3-year-old.
Dude,
this is crazy.
literally so, not me, but still red flag behavior. Then starts crying and using self-deprecation to the point that I somehow end up consoling him.
Yeah. They're almost 40, by the way.
Barf, dude. Oh,
Almost 40.
this is like freshman year high school couple
Behavior.
like,
Yeah,
dating
dude.
behavior.
Oh my God.
Golly.
Yeah, 40 is crazy. That's good
Insanity.
context, Keon. Oh my God.
Then the next day, he just acts like none of it ever happened. So back to the moment of clarity where I may be an a-hole. I have started to look into apartments in the city. I have a serious lifelong medical condition, and because of it, I can't drive. Wow. Our town doesn't have public transportation, so if I leave, I literally have to move out of town. I've talked to 1 or 2 close friends about my plan to leave. We have 5 months left on the lease, and because of the financial hole he dug me in, I don't have the money I would need to break the lease and pay to move into a new place. Also, I need time to figure out how to untangle our lives. We are both in the car, we have a shared phone plan, etc., etc. Our lease is ending in August, and I plan to move right after our last month of rent is paid. The only reason I haven't told him yet is I don't trust him not to bail and leave me paying for this big house on my own. By the way, you've heard of big houses. Well, we've built the foundation of this show by releasing 2,000 episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast app. So search OK Storytime and literally binge to your heart's content.
Binge away, my pretties.
I promise you it'll be a fun ride. But Sam, onto this actually kind of interesting scenario where our core tenet is communicate early and often. I mean, that's like what we always say. OP is in a bit of a pickle with this situation of like not wanting him to bail.
I mean, he's shown he's very unreliable, but I mean, I think he's too addicted to mommy to actually bail. I would still say communicate. Because also it's all conjecture that like you think he's gonna bail. I would say communicate, and if he's bails, then there's like I think you could ask his parents. I think you could figure things out. I would communicate early and often. I think it still goes the same here.
So I feel bad because I'm giving myself 4 to 5 months to plan, prepare, and save. I plan to tell him when we get our offer to renew, but one of my friends says to not tell him until July to ensure that I won't have to take all the expenses on my own for the next 4 months.
Nah, dude, I think you tell him early. I think you tell him.
Because and I know we don't know exactly how effed OP's financial situation will be, but just to put the argument out there, sometimes just having the weight of that off of your shoulders, could feel better potentially than the financial burden that replaces. So there you go.
Yeah. Our little 2 cents, but that's where that story ends.
Oh,
or we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more.
Am I the a-hole for not telling him I plan to leave and giving him the same amount of time to get his plan in order as I'm giving myself?
My boyfriend's baby mama still calls him husband. Should I leave?
Well, don't let your husband's
stop you from finding your new husband. This isn't just a little Am I the A-hole post. It's a deep dive into 2 years of a relationship that started with promises and quickly devolved into a confusing, often hurtful, and ultimately unsustainable situation. I, 34 female, need your raw, unfiltered judgment on whether I'm the villain for finally choosing my well-being by moving out, even if it shatters my boyfriend's 42 male feelings.
And we're going to give it.
We're going to give you the raw unfilteredness. By the way, this comes from Space Apprehensive 194. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, our story began about 2 years ago in a small rural town in West Virginia. We were both working for the same staffing agency, where I was briefly his supervisor. And he says that to everybody, knew that he stops in the street and speaks. I was working directly under her, and then I was working it directly under her. Weeks before our contracts were set to expire, along with everyone else from our agency, a romantic connection sparked. Or so I thought. What does that mean? He seemed to mirror everything I liked and wanted. Are we having a yes man on our hand? I mentioned my passion for travel, and suddenly he has and was a seasoned traveler himself, recounting tales of job hunting across various Latin American countries. He identifies as Latino Caribbean. I expressed my love for roses and the desire for a partner who would surprise me with them, and he declared himself a true romantic. Looking back, it feels almost rehearsed. Then came the inevitable question. What were my plans after our contracts ended? I had come to West Virginia from a large city in Georgia, specifically seeking a change of scenery and a place to heal. I was in the midst of a particularly difficult time navigating the legal aftermath of a felony case involving my ex-boyfriend, where I was the victim and witness.
Whoa.
All I craved was peace and a fresh start, and the temporary, well-paying job in West Virginia seemed like a perfect stepping stone. I told him my plan was simple. Stay in West Virginia, find a room or an apartment before the hotel we were all temporarily housed in punted everyone out. And that's when he made his move. He urged me to come with him to Miami.
Don't do it, girl. Don't do it.
You got a plan. You must give yourself your own sanctity. Anyway, he framed it as taking our relationship seriously, dropping the bombshell question, don't you want to put the eggs in already? Don't you want to start a family? He even used his cultural background saying, come with me. Us Latinos, we take care of our girl. Being the hopeless romantic I am, and perhaps a little vulnerable in my desire for connection and stability, I agreed. You don't shop at a grocery store while hungry, and ideally you don't get into a relationship while desperate for connection. I had never been to Miami, and the idea was exciting. A complete change from everything I had been through. However, even before we packed our bags for Miami, the first major red flag slapped me in the face. And again, none of what we saw before was a red flag. All of that was normal.
We're just getting to the red flags now.
Well, this is the red flag. I saw text messages on his phone from a woman calling him my husband. Girl, that is more than a red flag. That is a wingsuit made out of red going by you just like once a second.
I think he's someone's husband, if I were to hazard a guess.
I feel like I would believe it. Well, when I confronted him, his explanation was dismissive. He claimed she was his second baby mama.
Just finding out that he has children. He's got multiple baby mamas and also multiple children, presumably, that he hasn't told you about.
That they weren't actually married and that he had told her to stop using that term, but she persisted, just like his first baby mama.
He's like, they won't stop asking me for child support. I keep telling them to leave me alone.
You know what I actually think? I think they're both still married. And I think he's doing long distance with all of them. That's my conspiracy theory. So my alarm bells were ringing, but I, perhaps foolishly, tried to keep and push my concerns aside, telling myself to keep an eye on things, especially since they both lived outside the U.S. Double marriage! I even had the stereotypical thought that maybe Latinas, my own internalized bias is creeping in, I admit, could be crazy. Once in Miami, living in his rented place, things settled into a strange rhythm. He paid the rent and covered expenses when we went out, while I primarily handled the grocery shopping. Our mutual friends, when I cautiously mentioned the baby mama situation, were surprisingly nonchalant. They chalked it up to him being a man, charismatic and easy to fall for.
Your friends were like, oh, he's such a man, having 2 baby mamas.
Man is supporting so many people. It's like a small village.
It's called community. I don't know who your friends are, but maybe you should get friends with better advice.
Maybe it's just his friends, and he's telling them all to plant seeds. Their validation, looking back, feels like a dismissal of my very real concerns. Then came the car. We decided to get one, and he was the only one with a driver's license. I contributed $2,000 of my hard-earned savings, while he put in $1,000, promising to pay me back as soon as possible. What happened taking care of everything?
Yeah, I thought his whole thing was like, you're going to come to Miami and I'm going to take care of you.
Like OP's taking care of you. Well, the irony is thick here. Not long after, I stumbled upon text messages between him and one of his baby mamas discussing the car. He referred to it as a vehicle for the family, lamenting only the absence of her and their daughter.
That's his wife.
I think he has a whole second family. When I confronted him, his excuse was that it was just to make her feel good for their daughter's sake. Girl, he's just making you feel good for your sake. My frustration was mounting. I pressed him again about his marital status, and his answer was infuriatively vague. He said, maybe. There is no maybe in marriage.
Either you're married or you're not.
He wasn't even sure because the government in their country couldn't locate their marriage certificate, so it looked like no. During this time, my already limited savings began to dwindle rapidly. What happened to him paying for everything? I was unable to secure employment in Florida without a work permit, which was still in processing. I felt increasingly trapped and dependent. My initial plan of finding stability in West Virginia was completely derailed.
By you. You turned that train off the tracks.
I don't want to blame OP, for being swindled by a man that, knew how to wave red flags in a really fun way, like one of those birds that just like jumps and it's like, look at me dancing.
I don't want to blame OP for being swindled by Count Olaf in the most obvious disguise.
I do want to say, learn, please. I hope this has been a learning lesson.
When a man comes to you and says, I am Stolaf, it's probably Count Olaf.
I am Bachelor Olaf. I totally don't have any children or wives. Come with me away to Miami.
Normally, I'd say trust your gut.
I think your gut's off. I clung to the hope of returning to Virginia, where I knew getting a driver's license would be easier, opening up possibilities for temporary work like Uber while I waited for my work permit to finally come through. As I felt more and more stuck, his behavior began to shift. He knows you're dependent. He feels it. He senses it. The initial charm seemed to fade, replaced by growing irritability and a lack of empathy. Being confined to his apartment day in and day out, unable to work or build any semblance of my own life, led me into a deep depression. Eventually, out of sheer desperation, I started looking for staffing agencies that would accept the limited paperwork I had. I managed to find a factory job and worked there for about a month until we finally made the move back to Virginia. You're moving with him back to Virginia? What's going on?
Where OP's going to realize, I have to leave him. But you know what? This is a step because we're going back to Virginia.
And Virginia is where we felt good.
We're kind of half on the track.
So for a brief period, things felt somewhat normal until we were involved in a car accident and lost the car, the one I had contributed the majority of the funds for. And the car accident seemed to be a turning point for the worse.
I hope you guys have insurance.
Doesn't sound like it.
Ay.
My anxiety was through the roof and my distrust in him had solidified. I started looking through his phone again. You obviously don't trust him.
The thing is that if you look through the phone and you see something that says red flag, you have to take it for what it is. You can't just be like, someone's calling him their husband. I guess I'll ignore that. And also, if you're snooping through someone's phone, done.
I know it's not ideal, but my gut was screaming. Finally, your gut telling you something right. I discovered a series of disturbing voice messages from his wife. One in particular sent chills down my spine. She described a dream involving a black hand with long nails, ominously suggesting that someone, presumably me, was doing something to him. At the same time, he was confiding in me about his wife, calling her by her first name, trying to create a sense of distance and claiming their marriage was over because he suspected her of infidelity, something he apparently couldn't tolerate. The irony was not lost on me. Then came the smaller yet equally telling incident that chipped away at my self-respect. He asked me to help him set up a Netflix account. I explained the different plan options. He insisted on the cheapest one with ads, and later I found a voice message he sent to his wife complaining about my choice, using a deeply offensive and discriminatory term. This dumb black did that, and falsely claiming he had asked for the ad-free version. Never communicated this preference to me, but the absolute lowest blow, the one that truly revealed the depths of his disrespect and cruelty, occurred during one of our many arguments. So he's complaining to his wife, his actual wife, that it seems like it's his actual wife, about his girlfriend, OP, getting the ad-free version of Netflix.
Yeah, and also being racist towards her. And OP also finds out that the wife is, I guess, accusing her of witchcraft. Apparently, given that last sentence, did not break up with him after finding out that information.
Like, to recount, the wife has not broken up, and it seems like she knows. NOP has not broken up, and it seems like she knows. What kind of game is this man slinging that these people are not like, No, I won't accept this. Like, this guy must have something going for him because he is an absolute trash bag. And somehow he's got multiple people, hook, line, and sinker, falling for him.
They're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to crap talk the baby mama. I'm going to crap talk the girlfriend with my husband/boyfriend.
Everyone knows. Everyone freaking knows. I'm so confused. So, in the heat of the moment, he spat out the words, "You deserve someone like your ex, someone who beat you up and assaulted you." This was direct reference to horrific trauma I had confided in him, and the very reason I sought refuge in West Virginia in the first place. The fact that he weaponized my past against me in such a vile way was a betrayal I couldn't comprehend. And then you left, right? No. I should have left then.
What?
I see that now with painful clarity. The final catalyst, the moment I knew I had to escape, happened last year. Arguments had become frequent, and since our return from Miami, his go-to tactic was to punt me out of the house during these fights. One particularly exhausting day after another such argument, I was simply too drained to play his game. I told him with a wary finality that I was moving out. He reacted by storming out of the house, and in a petty act of control, he took some of my belongings with him. I was left in town where I had few connections and no immediate place to go. Exhausted and defeated, I fell asleep while half-heartedly packing. My phone jolted me awake. It was his mother. I initially ignored the calls, not in the mood for any drama. I assumed she wanted to speak to her son, as she often called me when she couldn't reach him directly. So the mom
is aware of you and probably also aware of the wife.
How does everyone know about this? And everyone's like, sounds good.
Like, absolutely, it seems like it's just getting into a relationship. This is not a good relationship at all.
The mama's boy label felt increasingly accurate, but then came the barrage of demanding voice messages. Her tone was sharp, almost accusatory, insisting I pick up the phone. When I finally did, her tone was surprisingly gentle. She asked if I could vacate her son's apartment because a cousin was coming to stay. I told her I hadn't found anywhere yet, and she retorted with a lie, claiming he had told her I had found a place but was refusing to leave. I told her I would call her son, which she strongly advised against. Of course I called him. He was furious with his mother, vehemently denying that a cousin was coming and expressing his disappointment in her for interfering.
His mom is trying to get you out of there. His mom's trying to help you.
He told me not to listen to her and not to leave. He even spoke with his mother, who later sent me a sheepish, apologetic voice message. But the damage was done. My trust in both of them was eroded. That trust should have been eroded eons ago. I feel like this is the Grand Canyon. That crap has been eroded for millions of years. Yet you're sitting there is like, is there a canyon here? Or is this just like a little stream? Well, days later, driven by a need to understand the full extent of their conversation, I looked at his phone again. What I found were audio messages between him and his mother from that day. He berated her for causing trouble and not consulting him before contacting me. And then came his mother's worried response about his temper and character, and then his reply. He dismissed the situation, stating that she will leave eventually. It's just that she doesn't want to let go of the titties. He was referring to me, implying that my inability to leave stemmed from some form of dependence on him in the most vulgar and demeaning way imaginable. Is he talking about like his financial titties?
He's like, the titties of my money.
What money? She was your supervisor and she paid more for the car. You have no money. He was absolutely no idea I heard this. This was the ultimate betrayal.
Not every betrayal can be the ultimate one. You have said this is the ultimate betrayal like 6 times.
And again, each time you stay.
And then you're like, it's the ultimate betrayal. I couldn't go back.
Well, here we are in the present. A few weeks ago, the landlord of our complex reached out, informing me of an available apartment. Big win. Without a second thought, I said yes.
Yes. OP, yes.
While surface level interactions with my boyfriend might seem relatively calm, mostly because I've emotionally detached and I'm actively avoiding conflict, the truth is the weight of the past 2 years, the manipulation, the disrespect, the emotional, the blatant disregard for my feelings and well-being has finally pushed me to my breaking point. Thank God.
I'm proud of you, OP.
I hate that you're at a breaking point, but this crap needed to break a long time ago.
So long.
The apartment represents not just a change of address, but a chance to reclaim my life, my sanity, and my self-respect. By the way, if you have any self-respect at all, you would listen to our podcast, OK Storytime, wherever you get your podcast. Just search OK Storytime on iHeart app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime. Do it. We got 50 days or more, 53 days of nonstop OK Storytime stories just like this. So there's another relevant update, but how can we not get in situations like this?
Well, I think it's just recognizing the signs when they start. So the signs here was this man was trying to be exactly what you wanted.
And trying to say, baby, don't worry about a thing. I got you.
Yeah. So he's trying to make you dependent on him. He's trying to isolate you by bringing you to Miami. He's making himself into this perfect, like when you see a person and you start dating a person and they seem maybe too perfect and you're like, wow.
If a person never disagrees with you, they're probably not sharing what they actually think. But we got a little bit more of this story. So after hearing every single painful detail, am I the a-hole for prioritizing my own desperate need for a safe, independent, and peaceful existence by moving out, even if it shatters the feelings of a man who consistently has shown me profound lack of consideration, kindness? I am tired of feeling like an afterthought, a convenience. I deserve my own space, my own peace, and to finally heal from the emotional wounds this relationship has inflicted. Lay your judgment. I'm ready, or as ready as I can be.
Obviously not the a-hole for that.
Yeah, leave.
Self a-hole for staying so long, but not the a-hole for leaving. Please leave.
No, you're not the a-hole for leaving. You're the a-hole to yourself for staying. Get out of that thing. So that is the end of that story. My boyfriend caught feelings for my friend. It ruined everything.
From friend to girlfriend.
Hi, I, 23 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 24 male, for 3 years now. I don't want to use real names, so we'll call him James. James and I met our junior year of university through some mutual friends, and he is someone who has become an integral part of my life. I love him more than I can even begin to describe. Sounds like that's a lot. He's the first man I've ever met that sees me for who I am, understands me, shows me he cares, and loves me. By the way, this comes from Primary Plankton 925. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we have the same sense of humor, interests. I've never met someone who I get along with so easily. Overall, he's just so important to me. And since the beginning, I knew he was someone that I could see myself marrying and building a life with. So again, I think she likes him.
I think she might like him.
Overall, he is just so important to me, and since the beginning, I knew he was someone I could see myself marrying and building a life with, which is why this issue I'm having genuinely is disturbing me and why I'm coming here to ask for advice or input. For context, James has many male and female friends, as do I. I know some relationships don't tolerate their significant others having opposite gender friends, but this was never something that we followed. Our friend groups are quite big in that sense, and personally, I have some male friends that I have been friends with for a while, and he has one specifically. We'll call her Amelia, 23 female. All right, I'm putting some ICUs in there. Amelia and James have been friends since they were both 15. And from what I know, when they first met, they had feelings for one another, but according to both of them, the feelings fizzled out quickly as their friendship strengthened. I know this to be true because James went on a date with some other girls throughout high school and the beginning of university afterwards, okay? Amelia dated one or two people, but remained single from what I have been told. They are very close friends who really care for each other, considering how long they have known each other. And before we started dating, I heard from some mutual friends that people always accuse them of being a thing because of how often they hung out. Also because they lived together the first 2 years of university. They lived together too. When I first met James, he was open with me about how he and Amelia used to have feelings for each other when they were 15 and reassured me that they do not anymore. And that even though he and Amelia are close friends, he doesn't want me to be uncomfortable with their friendship and to let him know if I have any questions or anything. At first, I was a little uneasy about it because I rarely know of a girl and a guy being as close as they are without feelings involved. Fair. I have close male friends, but I wouldn't say we are as close as those two are. But when I met Amelia, I felt a lot more confident that they had a solid friendship with no feelings from the way they interacted. After we started dating, they stopped hanging out as frequently, and I could tell that Amelia really respected our relationship and supported us. Maybe we're out of the woods again.
Maybe, or maybe completely not.
Maybe not. Maybe out of the woods and straight into the Amelia bush. Amelia herself is a very sweet person too. Beautiful and incredibly smart. In the past, the female friends of my ex-boyfriend have often shunned me or excluded me, but Amelia never did anything like that. It seems like she was super open. She actually became someone I consider a friend. More about her, although she's very attractive and nice, she has remained single. This is important. James would sometimes tease her about this, and as well as some of the other friends in their friend group, saying things like she gets no play, etc. And she always took it with grace, laughed along, and would also say that she doesn't need a relationship and would rather focus on herself at this time in her life. And that is how it has been for the past 3 years. We've all graduated by now, and some of our other friends have moved away, but Amelia, James, and I still live in the same city. But now on to my dilemma and where I may have messed up. For the first time since I met Amelia, she started dating someone and is now in a relationship with a guy. We'll call him Logan, 25 male. She told us about it 2 months ago. This sort of came out of the blue, but she told both James and me that she didn't really want to tell anyone about it because she is nervous since this is her first actual relationship. I was really happy for her too and excited, and I noticed James seemed a bit off when she told us, but he still said that he was happy for her. Got some feelings once she's been captured.
Exactly. He doesn't care when it's like, oh, that like option is there, but now that it's off the table, he's like,
I want it. I want it back. And ever since then, whenever Logan is brought up or if I talk about it, he just dismisses it and doesn't want to hear anything about it. At first, I thought maybe he knew something about this Logan that I didn't and didn't like him. Or maybe he just didn't actually care for it, but I felt in my gut something was weird. And it really bothered me that he seemed so affected by it. I don't like this. I don't like this, John. This feels a little sus. This feels a little spooky. It's getting sticky. Well, last Friday, one of our mutual friends was hosting a dinner, and when I texted Amelia what she was wearing, she told me she wasn't going because she didn't feel well. Conspiracy theory, James reached out and said he's in love with her, and that's why she's not going. I told James this, and he looked confused and then somewhat annoyed for a second, and then said whatever, and that we'll see her another time. The entire Friday night, I could not stop thinking about his reaction, and even more so at the dinner. James is drinking a lot more heavily than he usually does. For a few days after, I did not hear from Amelia or hear about her from James. And on Thursday night, I did something that I have never done before. I went through James's phone. Oops. John, so we have a rule on this show. What's our rule? Probable cause. John, did we have probable cause?
no.
I do not think we had probable cause. I think that was not a good move on your part, OP, although I do think James is being a little sus. But I don't think you have enough probable cause. We're not there. Well, I don't know why, and I feel guilty for invading his privacy. I'm glad you feel guilty, but something in me compelled me to do so. And what I found was a full-blown argument between James and Amelia. Apparently, James had been ignoring her and being off, which I too noticed, and she confronted him about it. He ended up telling her that he was upset. He didn't know about her having feelings for Logan, and that he doesn't think she should be dating a guy he's barely met. That is weird. You always don't have to agree to date someone by committee.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Vetoed, I don't like him. That's what he wants to do, but he is not privileged to that privilege. Amelia was obviously upset at this response and said something like, "What's it to you, big boy? Why does me dating someone bother you so much?" I think she knows. She knows, but she's trying to get him to say it. And to that, James got even more upset and was saying things like, "Does my opinion not matter to you? This guy isn't good for you." Mind you, he has never met Logan. And it went on like that before Amelia told him, "F you," and he left her on red. I don't remember what every text was, but all in all, it seemed to be rooted out of this weird possessiveness. I can't even begin to describe how sick I felt reading the messages because it really bothered me how possessive he was over her. It was genuinely the first time I've ever felt such an uncomfortable and disturbing feeling, and I feel it now remembering the messages. And to be honest, this is not the first time I've seen him act this way towards her. In university, I think it's common for guy friends to watch out for their female friends whenever at a party or club, but I always noticed how he would do so with her, like putting his hands around her to move her out of the way or simply standing near her when guys came up to her and just being very protective. This was often enough that some of my girlfriends commented on it, saying that it was weird of him to do so, which I just brushed off, saying he was looking out for her. Again, maybe it could be looked past in isolation with this new information. But again, still whack of OP to go through his phone.
Exactly.
The possessiveness, a little weird.
Super weird.
I really don't like that. That's a lot. The moving people in the club, you know, like
I've been in a situation before where, like, at a concert, like jumping around, like you're kind of like trying to protect your friend.
yeah, I've had to play like fake boyfriend before, like a ton. So like I think there's guys being creepy. You're like, oh, dude, sorry, that's my girl. You know, like just to protect the booty from strange men trying to plunder. Like I think it could be that, but again, with this context, it feels like a little bit weirder. But even more, I kept thinking about the way he talks about her, saying she's the most peculiar girl he's ever met, or the way I sometimes caught him looking at her as if she's painted the stars themselves. He's in love. Back then, it was never to the point where like I could genuinely accuse him of something, but it was enough for me to notice. Until now that I read actual proof, he seems to be more emotional about her than I ever thought. And so yesterday I told him we needed to talk about Amelia, and he seemed taken aback and confused, but he agreed. I sat him down and I told him everything. I noticed how weird he acted when she told us he was in a relationship, how off he has been. And I also told him that I saw the messages and that it was upsetting and bother him to see him act that way over another girl. I feel like you should apologize for at least that part. He's like, hey, I know this was wrong. I admit to it, just so he doesn't have ammo to fire back at you. I ended up asking him if he had feelings for Amelia. To this, he got very upset at me. First, for going through his phone, which I understand completely. I think that's understandable. And second, for accusing him of such a thing. He said something like, if I had feelings for her, don't you think I would have been already dating her by now? Yeah. Wouldn't you?
Would, but here we are.
I feel like there's probably something that he just doesn't like about her.
I think it's what you said, and he was always like secretly like kind of pining for her in his head, and as soon as she's like off the market, quote unquote, now he's freaking out.
I think when he was like silently pining, I think there was something like off that he just didn't fully want to be with or what for whatever reason. And then now that she's not available, it's like, yes, there was this thing that maybe I didn't like about her, but now she's at the table, I really want her.
When you're forced to make the choice, quote unquote, you make the choice.
But I just felt in my gut he was not being completely honest with me. I knew her being in a relationship bothered him, and I asked him, why didn't you tell me about this? To which he said that their friendship is not my business. Things escalated, we went back and forth for a while because the way he treats her, the way he acts when it comes to her, it's not a normal way a guy treats a girlfriend. I ended up saying at one point, so if Amelia told you she had feelings for you right now, what would you do? And I think that was his breaking point. He told me that he didn't think I was this insecure to accuse him of loving anyone else. I ended up walking out of our apartment saying that he needed to clear his mind. He texted me later saying he was going to stay with a friend for the weekend, that he felt upset and betrayed and needed this time for himself. What are the chances that friend is Amelia?
I feel like this is going to be one of those situations, one of those stories where it's like, oh, you think I'd be that insecure to be in freaking love with someone like while I'm freaking with you? And then he's like, hey, listen, I'm freaking in love with someone while I'm freaking with you, okay?
Yeah. He's saying the quiet part out loud, acting like he's not saying the quiet part out loud. Well, and that we need to talk about our relationships more in depth on Monday. I'm very anxious and have not been able to stop crying about the situation. I feel a lot of guilt for invading his privacy, but I also can't shake how sick I feel thinking about how upset he was with her for getting into a relationship, and also just reassessing the way he's always acted with her. I know he loves me. He has shown it to me in a million different ways, and he's always been a man that shows and tells me the things he feels. I'm really starting to wonder if I'm just insecure and overthinking, or if I was right in my decision of calling him out and feeling like something was up. I know that he liked her when he was 15, and I know that was so long ago and that they technically had all that time before me to date or anything, but didn't. So that must mean something. But I also know that their friendship is unlike most, that he cares and loves her a lot, and I'm afraid that it's more than just platonic love. So, am I the a-hole for asking if he has feelings for her? Any advice or input for those who have been in similar situations, whether my place or James's, will be super helpful. And if you read this entire thing, thank you so much. I appreciate any advice I can get. There is an edit. There is an update. But for right now, who is the a-hole here?
I Do not think you would necessarily be an a-hole if you asked in the right way.
I didn't realize people make a whole new post update instead of coming back and editing OG posts. So I'm posting the update right now. Hey guys, a lot has happened and the original post got quite a few comments, so I feel like I owe it to you guys. I really appreciate everything that you commented as well, and I took it into account for what I'm about to update you on. I also want to say before I update, some of you said to contact Amelia about this, and I thought about it and decided I do not want to. I don't want to drag her into this when she's ultimately done nothing wrong. She's always made it clear to me that she is just a friend, and I've never seen her cross a line with James, nor any of our other mutual male friends. She's in a happy relationship, and I just don't want to cause any issues with them. With that said, here's what else happened. I wrote that post on Saturday, and I fully expected not to hear from James by Monday. But apparently the friend James was staying with didn't know why he was even there, only that James wanted a place to stay. When James told him the situation, he did what many of you commented on and told him he should be reassuring me rather than running away. I guess this knocked some sense into James because Saturday night he came back home and told me he doesn't want to run away from us, but needed a day or two to gather some of his thoughts. I was so tired and exhausted. I know this wasn't the best thing to do, but I accepted it and told him I'd wait. Looking back on it, I should have just sat him down and continued the conversation, but he kept telling me that he loves me and there's no one else and he just needs to clear his mind, and again, I didn't push it. Sunday was Easter, and I went to visit my sister and her husband. I did not bring James along. He had some other plans, and he was originally going to do regardless. After everything that went down, I didn't really want to hang out with him. While I was there, I told both of them the situation with James. My sister had the same reaction as many of you guys did, that James probably has feelings for her and that he was the a-hole for leaving me in the dust instead of comforting me. Her husband, we'll call him Dean 28 Male, though, told me he doesn't think James feels anything for Amelia, but rather is more protective over her. But my sister shot that down, saying if it was a protective older brother type thing, then it would be more obvious. She told me I should grill him more about it, and Dean agreed with that too. I don't know if I like the whole grill him more about it energy. I think more like, discuss and be honest and open with your feelings, because if you grill him on it, like ask him the hard-hitting questions, he's just going to clam up and he's probably not going to tell you anything.
Yeah, I think what she could say is like, hey, listen, like something's like really off and I want to be able to talk and communicate until we reach a resolution where I feel like comfortable in everything again. And I'll let you know if I'm like approaching there or like getting there, but like right now I'm not there. If we're going to make this work, I'm going to need to like really talk this through.
Yeah, exactly. It's like tactic is okay, but the energy is like not. To say the least, my conversation with both of them only left me with more questions of whether I was overthinking this or if I was in the right. Anyways, later Sunday night, I get home to see James waiting for me, and I could just tell he was ready to speak. We sat down, and he ended up apologizing first and foremost.
Sorry, I'm in love with Amelia. My bad.
He felt stupid for the way he originally acted and said that he only walked out because he was upset that I accused him of having feelings for her. He told me that in the past, his past girlfriends, or just girls he would be talking to, would always accuse him of liking Amelia because they are friends, and I guess it just triggers him to hear that. I replied to him and told him, well, obviously, you've been acting a certain way with her to make the person you're with feel that way. And that made him go quiet. And I really just let him have it at that point. I told him I've never had an issue with her in the past, and it isn't even about her or their friendship. I'm completely fine with my significant other having opposite gender friends. It's about the way he treats her. I told him how those texts I saw were more reactive and possessive than a regular guy friend would be over a girl, and that I guess the way their friendship is very unlike most regular female and male friendships in regards to how close they are. For this, he got defensive and said that he doesn't feel any possession over her, that he just wants to look out for her because he cares for her. We kind of went back and forth for a while, and I then asked him the question that I last asked before he stormed out, which is, so if Amelia told you she had feelings for you right now, what would you do? He just kind of looked at me mouth wide and struggling to form a response. I think it was at this point I started to cry. Reality kind of just settled in because his lack of response or inability to immediately do so told me he was unsure, but he had doubts. I think if he was truly secure in a relationship, he would have immediately told me that he would reject her or not befriend her or something. When he saw me crying, he panicked and was telling me it wasn't like that he only loves me, that he can never view Amelia that way because they've been longtime friends. And I think that flipped a switch in me, and I told him, So if you and Amelia met now, if you weren't such solid friends, would you love her? And I think that question truly made him falter. My mother always told me that no answer is an answer. And that was a moment where that rang incredibly true. And God, I can't even describe how badly it hurt. To see the man you love most in this world falter about your relationship. I've never been someone who crashes out or blows up at things. I've always been reserved and accepting of situations and realities, even if it hurts. But I think that was the first time in my life where I wanted to just explode on him, let my anger out. But I didn't. And I'm glad that I didn't, because even then, I didn't think he deserved that kind of reaction out of me. I don't remember much of our conversation afterwards. I was practically sobbing at that point, but I know I ended up telling him that he needs to do some reflecting about the things he truly feels, even if it scares him. Because if he doesn't, he's just going to end up hurting more people. And then I broke up with him, telling him I think it's best if we separate for both our sakes. I hate to say it, but part of me hoped he would fight back and reject me, and my heart broke even more when he accepted what I said. I have never seen such an expression on his face either. He looked like I just rocked his world in the most horrible way. It hurt so effing badly. Maybe OP just showed him that he does love her. Maybe that's what is kind of the craziest part. That's why he's not fighting back.
And, not to give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't know if he deserves this, but maybe he was able to convince himself of the lie or not even realize he literally just could have been with her. That's the wild part. This could have just all been
avoided. Yeah. God, I still feel the ache within me right now thinking about it. I ended up going to my sister's, crying the entire way there, and I'm going to stay with her until I can find a new place. The lease James and I have ends mid-July, so I have time, and James ended up texting me that he's going to stay with his own parents instead of home so that I don't feel uncomfortable. And he sent me a long paragraph about how much he does love me and how he'll always be here for me no matter what, and how he hates himself for making me cry and yada yada. I didn't respond, and I'm not going to. I don't doubt James loves me. I just think he loves Amelia more and is afraid of it. So pathetic, really. I think he's the only one who truly is so insecure with himself and the things he feels, and it's really just sad and pathetic to see. I hope that he realizes his own feelings for Amelia, and honestly that he finds a way to move past them for his own sake and for his future lover's sake. I don't wish this type of pain I feel on anyone. By the way, if you want to relieve any pain you might feel, you should listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. But John, what do you think about where we landed? I mean, I feel like we saw this train coming from a mile away.
I don't know, dude. It's still crazy to see it crash. I think good on OP for kind of getting to the bottom of it. I think kind of like what we were saying a minute ago, it's not the grilling, she's just asking him the questions.
Yeah. She kind of was therapizing him a little bit. It was like, do you love her? She got to the bottom of it.
Unfortunately, she found it out, but also what a bullet dodged for both of them, OP and Amelia, because I think he would have still had these qualities in the relationship with Amelia.
I wonder if Amelia likes him, because in that text exchange, I feel she knows that he likes him and wants him to admit it to her.
She's like, if he says it, then I'm safe to pursue it. I did not even think about that.
I think they both like each other, but we got a little bit more of this story. Anyways, it's not that exciting of an update, and it is really what most of you probably expected. I know I will be okay. I'm young, and there's much of my life to live out, but I won't lie and say that it doesn't hurt, because it really does. It will just take time to move on from, I guess. As I've said, I won't be telling Amelia about any of this, and I haven't told any of our mutual friends about our breakup yet. Anyways, I will update you guys again if anything else happens that is crazy enough to mention, and I will also take this time to reply to some comments. Thank you for hearing me out. I really appreciate it. And that is where that story ends. Great story, sad ending, but maybe the best ending for everyone.
I feel like we usually get the stories from the person that's being confessed to or whatever. It was interesting to see it in the girlfriend's perspective.
My boyfriend told me that he's married days before I give birth.
How many days?
Did he just get married?
Yeah.
We've been together for 2 years, but he lives in a different city. When I got pregnant, he said he was gonna move to my city and we would move in together. He just needed to finalize some things with his ex-wife. Like your marriage?
Yeah. I have to make her my ex-wife.
She's not yet my ex-wife, but like theoretically.
Like in my heart.
He told me he was divorced when we met, and I never had any reason to question it. I knew that he had 2 kids with her as well. He told me the truth about that. Just not that he wasn't divorced or even separated. By the way, this comes from Throwaway. I don't know what to say. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. Fast forward. I'm 39 weeks, and he suddenly got uncommunicative, which is less than ideal when you're literally about to give birth. Bear in mind that he was supposed to have been fully moved in here a month ago. Blame the vid. Today, I found out I'm going to be induced on Monday unless baby decides to come out over the weekend. So I contacted him, and I was like, okay, what's going on? And that's when he told me that he isn't actually separated or divorced. He never told his wife about anything, and now he felt like he was backed into a corner. I don't feel sorry for that because that's his own fault, but obviously literally 4 days before giving birth isn't the time you want to get this news, and I have no idea what to do now. Tell him to F off, obviously, but what else? I feel like, I can take care of the baby, but I was preparing to have a partner to take care of it with me, you know? I don't even know what I'm asking for in terms of advice, but any advice for moving forward and handling this is appreciated. And there are some relevant comments. Lucy in Blood March says, lawyer the F up, get DNA tests, make sure he pays you what he owes you. This is horrible, and I'm so sorry he did this crap. He had no right. Do you have anybody else that can be there with you? Mom, friends, support? OP says, I'm going to try to contact a doula organization like someone in this thread suggested. My mom can't be here because she's out of state. Thanks to the vid, I was dumb enough to think that he'd be there. P squared says, oh man, every negative belief I have about relationships with large age gaps gets confirmed once again. What to do other than getting child support from him? There's not much else you can do. Do you really want this guy in your life any more than absolutely necessary? And Opie says, yeah, it's not a good choice. I wish I could go back and tell my naive self to run away. I wish I could zap him out of my life at all, but you know. JPK36 says, this is a horrible situation. Did you never go to his place of residence? How could he hide something like this from you for 2 years? You never asked to meet his kids once it got serious? Hopefully you stick it to him, make him take responsibility, even if it's just financially. And Opie responds, he had an apartment. I get the feeling that I wasn't the first person he tried this on. Told me his ex-wife had full custody, blah, 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 blah. Typical shady story I should have seen through. He was really good at making it all sound realistic. He came to my city for work frequently, so a lot of the time we were here, but he really had all of his bases covered. And JW6571 says, so again, you never met his children. If a man has children but never has them, then there's something wrong. OP says, yup, I never once met them. I realize now that this is something I should have seen as a red flag. I think I'm a pretty smart person, but let me tell you, this has made me feel like a huge idiot.
Wonder what he would say about the kids if OP was ever like, can I meet your kids? And he's like,
yeah, I wonder if she ever asked.
They're allergic to strangers.
Popeye Switch says, do you have proof that he's been lying this whole time? You're gonna need it. OP says, I'm a sentimental hoarder, so I have a lot of texts and stuff. Gonna make sure that I screenshot any time he talked about his divorce, custody, anything else he lied about. Edit says, thank you all. It seems like getting legal help is priority number 1. I'm just in shock right now. Like I almost feel numb, but I really appreciate everyone here for your help. I was really happy and looking forward to baby, and I just feel really sad right now, so I need to take a breather. Everything is ready for the baby, and I'm still excited to meet them, but Jesus. Edit 2 says, in addition to all kinds of weird comments I'm getting, yada yada yada. Okay, I called around to a few family lawyers in my area, and the advice I get from posting here has been absolutely brilliant. But I'm running out of the sass and steam to deal with anything else that's happening here, so I'm just going to check out. I'm going to leave the legal business to the lawyers.
Smart.
Pray that he didn't give me false information, and I can actually find him, and try to remember how much I was looking forward to being a mom before all of this happened. I don't really care if people think it's fake or whatever, because I've gained exactly nothing from making this post, and I gain exactly nothing from arguing. To everyone who shared their stories with me, thank you. I doubt anything of monumental concern will happen between now and Monday induction, But once baby is here, I will try to come back and let people know what's happening. And there is an update 1 week later.
Boy, baby is here. Baby is here.
Baby is here. Baby is here.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I think there's nothing else you can really do besides lawyer and get that child support and also tell wife.
Lawyer, tell wife.
Tell wife who has kids.
Have baby. Turn baby into lawyer.
Baby lawyer.
Now you've got
3 lawyers.
You've got a hit movie script.
Yeah.
And a lawyer baby.
I'm baby lawyer.
You're essentially set up for life at that point.
I think, yeah. And then you make all of the money from that movie.
And I think of all the cases that baby will win from being a lawyer for so long.
But there is an update, and baby is here. First things first, I had my healthy baby girl on Monday evening. We were discharged shortly after birth due to the vid, so I've been just trying to adjust to everything. Her birth was a dream, and I never want to do it again, LOL. Second, I talked to his wife for over an hour yesterday. I guess he decided to tell her.
Okay.
Ooh, like on the phone, or did she come visit you in the baby?
I feel like there's a lot to talk about for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't,
She wasn't mad at me, thank God. She had her suspicions, but was trying to trust her husband, which I understand. She was so nice, honestly, and even though she isn't angry at me, I still feel bad because she's such a nice lady. She wanted to make sure I was doing okay and that I didn't need anything, which made me cry because postpartum hormones are whack. She's getting a divorce from him. Good for her, TBH. We're planning.
Y'all should get married.
You guys should get married and raise this baby and her 2 kids.
Yeah.
And take all of his money.
And it'd be like a twist. It'd be like instead of friends, it'd be not friends. Because
like the show Friends?
Yeah, because it starts with Ross's wife. Spoiler alert for Friends. Ross's wife leaves him for a woman and raises their kid with her.
Yeah.
Same thing can happen here, except it's bizarro Friends.
Exactly. We're planning to meet up and talk crap about him once the virus is over. By the way, you can talk crap with us if you listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Yes.
Talk all the crap you want. We won't be able to respond to you. But there is a little bit left to this story. I think you're on the right track. I think it's going to be tricky and it sucks that he did this, but I think you're doing everything you got to do.
I think actually finding a little bit of support in the wife is like a crazy positive out of nowhere, I think.
I agree. Yeah. I think you guys both kind of went through the same things on different ends. And it's really, really lovely that she's reaching out to you and saying like, hey, do you need anything? Because she didn't have to do that.
No, she probably gets it. She's had 2 kids.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I understand. I had 2 kids with that man. You just had 1.
Yeah. And he's not even there.
He's not even there. I mean, I think just like if a person has kids, meet them maybe at some point before you have kids with that person.
Maybe he just really was convincing about all the reasons why the kids weren't available.
He's like, oh, they've got soccer practice today. And she's like, it's midnight. And he's like, soccer practice.
Don't understand. Their mom wants them to be decathletes. They're training at all hours.
They're trying to go to the Olympics.
We're trying to make a new thing that's even better than the Olympics.
Yeah.
We haven't worked out the name yet.
For my kids, because they're so good.
Yeah.
But let's finish the story off. I have a lawyer and will establish custody and child support legally ASAP. He hasn't bothered to contact me at all, but I don't particularly care. I didn't want to leave anyone hanging, even though it's not a huge update. Thank you to everyone who checked in. It means a lot. Also, I'm all set with everything baby needs, with things being as they are, considering donating to a local diaper/formula bank. Save your money for awards on this post too, and put it towards that. Help babies and mamas who don't have the resources I do. OP seems like a great person.
Yeah.
But there are some relevant comments to finish it off. Doubles508 says, out of curiosity, did she reach out to you? Did your ex give her your number? Opie says he refused, so she went through his phone to find me. She's a petty legend, and I love her. Serge Zomi says, that was a far better outcome than expected. I hope a friendship between the 2 of you blossoms and the siblings can get to know one another. Don't be surprised if she does step back, though. This must be incredibly hard for her. Although it wasn't your fault, you will always be a reminder that her husband cheated and her marriage is over. Opie says, oh, absolutely, she'll need time to grieve. I want to support her in whatever way I can, even if it means us stepping away from each other. She's a great lady who ended up in a crappy situation. And that is the end of that story.
Sometimes that's what happens, man.
Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
Sometimes a good person ends up with a bad hand.
But sometimes post the bad hand, you wind up with another good person.
When you get brought low, all that means is you've got space for an upswing.
Space to grow.
You've got space for things to get better.
Yeah, but that's the end of that story. My boyfriend refused to marry me because I'm an immigrant?
Well, that doesn't sound very good.
My boyfriend doesn't want to marry me because I'm an immigrant. I, 29 female, moved to the US 7 years ago as a grad school student from Indonesia. I met my boyfriend, 30 male, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. By the way, this comes from Red Earaches and High Cree. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Ooh, we got a little double POV.
What?
Love to see those. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about where our relationship was headed. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed the sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years.
Wow.
We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa, temporary worker, so this means that I need to start looking for a job ASAP if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to think about getting married, as that will also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he wasn't planning on us getting married before I was able to get a green card, permanent resident in the US. I was incredibly confused because he'd never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule. His words, not mine, by me. And that he wanted to make sure that I married him because I loved him and not because it was a ticket for getting to stay in the US, which can only happen when I get a green card. It took me a while to process what he said. I asked him if he'd be okay to move to Indonesia with me, which he wasn't. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what just happened. I am still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful, and generous man I've ever met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after nearly a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over and it hurts so much. And there is an update.
That's,
I don't know.
interesting.
A few days back, I made a post about how my boyfriend of 7 years didn't want to marry me because I was an immigrant on an H-1B, and he didn't want to be a visa mule. I got a lot of wonderful comments and DMs, and because the thread got locked, the post was subsequently removed. I wasn't able to respond. Addressing some of the stuff in the comments. I've been on an H-1B visa for a bit more than 2 years. I was on STEM OPT for about 3 years after grad school. I had terrible luck with the H-1B lottery, and I got one in the last round I was eligible to apply in. Getting PR in the US is not easy. I know people who have been here for 15 plus years who are still waiting for their PR. For those of you who DM'd me calling me a gold digger, you guys made me LOL. I am aware of the legalities around sponsoring a spouse for a PR, including the financial aspect. It shouldn't have been a problem for the following reasons. I'm a STEM major who recently shifted into management. I work for a large company and I do quite well for myself. My boyfriend is a teacher and our incomes are not comparable. He earns around $60K. I earn close to $300K. We've been living together for 6 years. We have a shared account to pay for expenses like rent and utilities that we both deposit a percentage of our salary into. The rest of our money goes into our own private accounts and we don't manage each other's money. Because I'm pretty frugal, I've saved up quite a bit of money in the form of savings and investments. If my boyfriend was worried about the legality of sponsoring me financially for 10 plus years, I would have happily discussed moving the money around. I was even considering buying a house, so we could have made that a joint ownership thing. The point is, we could have figured it out. I haven't relied on him financially ever, and I didn't intend on doing that in the future. I might not have considered everything, but you have to know that I thought about the marriage for visa thing very recently. Only when the threat of possibly having to leave loomed over me. This isn't something I thought about in detail at all. Regarding my situation back home in Indonesia, I come from a very religious and conservative family and had a horrible childhood. My family doesn't support my career choices. I cut contact with my family when I moved to the US, so they are not in the picture at all. I was on great terms with boyfriend's family. They loved me. Now for the actual update. He is now my ex-boyfriend. Whoa, wait.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. I took a few days to collect myself and then reached out to him wanting to talk. He agreed. It turns out that he has been insecure about earning less than I did for a while. Apparently, his friends have been poking fun at our relationship, calling me the sugar mommy because I take care of most of the expenses. He never told me this until now. He apparently didn't feel like an equal because our pay differs so much and started feeling that I was only with him as a quick way to get a PR here. I was speechless. I couldn't believe that his friends gaslit him into doubting our relationship. Yeah, bad friends. But also, people can influence you if they say it enough, but it's also on him to, stand up for himself and for his partner.
Yeah.
I reminded him how he had supported me when I was in grad school, like getting me groceries when I had little money to spare, allowing me to stay with him rent-free in my last year of grad school to help me minimize expenses so I didn't have to take out a loan, letting me use his car when I was attending interviews. I told him that he did them because he loved me, and me taking on the majority of household expenses since I started working is my way of paying him back for all the things he did for me back then. He said that he gets what I'm saying, but also that he didn't expect me to start earning more than him straight off the bat. I asked him if there was any chance he'd consider going to couples therapy like some of you had suggested, and he declined because he didn't think he was being unreasonable. He said that he wanted to be the provider in a relationship and that he didn't feel like one in ours. So there's no going back from this unless I quit my job and found another that paid substantially less, which isn't going to happen. Yeah, no. If he can't get over that, that's not your problem.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, we broke up. Yep. I mean, to ask your partner who's earning $300,000 for the both of you, really.
Yeah.
To quit their job.
Yeah.
When you earn $60K, which is fine, but
that's so not the solution here.
So not that's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
His family is in disbelief. They were hoping that he would propose soon. I moved into an Airbnb for now. A little bit of good news to end this update with. My company offered me a similar role in a different department. However, this is based out of France and there's a small decrease in pay. I've always dreamed about living in Europe and I've accepted this offer. And maybe you can get a work visa too.
Yeah, and you can get
you would have to. I've signed the relocation agreement and I'll move there in the next 8 to 12 weeks. A few comments. People took apart my update to point out a discrepancy. I first said I haven't relied on him financially ever. And later, I reminded him how he supported me when I was in grad school. Blah, blah, blah about that. I'm sorry for wording my feelings poorly, causing this confusion. I never asked or expected my ex to help me buy groceries or house me. I moved to the US to pursue a tech MBA from a top 20 school and had scholarships and student loans that were going to help me cover the cost tuition plus living expenses. So at no point did I need him to help me. I knew I was going to have a financially difficult time for 2 years and I was prepared for this. My ex, however, did not like that I was eating cold sandwiches and instant ramen most of the time and would bring me some groceries, vegetables, frozen food, and the like, because he wanted to make sure I was eating well.
Oh.
He was also the one who proposed the idea of me moving in with him because he wanted us to live together and also thought it would lower my stress levels. He was an extremely kind, considerate, and generous man, and it was one of the reasons I fell in love with him. I am extremely grateful for his support, but I wasn't relying on it. Had he not done any of the above, I would have managed. And there is a second update.
All right. Wow.
I'm back with an update after about a year of moving to France.
Woohoo!
What? My previous posts are on my profile. I absolutely love it here. The language barrier is very real, but I'm taking classes, and the people around me have been incredibly helpful.
Good.
I've spent the last year experiencing all the good things Europe offers. I've visited multiple cities in France, Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland, Denmark, Germany, and Luxembourg. All those are great places that I've been to. and I love them. So I'm glad that you get, I mean, like, that's the nice thing about being in France or just any place in Europe is
You're
that it's
so
so
close.
easy
Yeah.
to go anywhere. You can
Yeah.
visit so many countries.
I know. That sounds so nice.
Yeah, like you travel like 2 hours and you're in another country. Here you
Dude.
travel 2 hours and you're in LA.
yeah, literally.
I cannot believe how gorgeous all of these places are, and the more time I spend here, the more I think about how fortunate I am to be able to experience this. I'm soon traveling to Italy. Girl, this is a life.
Amazing.
And I'm excited about everything. My work-life balance is also incredible. I was frequently putting in 10 to 12-hour work days in the US, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've had to work more than 8 hours a day here.
yeah, I bet.
I haven't had the courage to get back into dating yet. My experience with the ex has left a really bad taste in my mouth. Even though immigration here is a lot easier than the US and is not really one of my worries, the thought of things falling apart after putting in a significant amount of time and effort scares me. I'm considering therapy, but I haven't quite made the leap to do that yet. My ex reached out to me a few months after I moved. He faced a lot of backlash from his family after we broke up, and he wanted to discuss reconciliation because he realized the error of his ways. No. Blocked.
You might have realized the error, but have you fixed the error?
I told him exactly how he made me feel and that I could no longer trust him. I decided to move on and advised him to do the same.
Nice.
He's had to downgrade his lifestyle as he can no longer afford to live the same way we did. And I could tell him that it made him unhappy. Shocking. He can't do the same things that you guys did on a $360,000 salary versus now his $60,000 salary.
Dude.
Shocking.
Like, wait, babe, I miss your money. Miss your money. Come back.
Not gonna lie, I did feel a pang of guilt and sadness after our conversation. But it is what it is. I got a bunch of DMs asking me what I do. I have an undergrad in comp sci, and after a year of working, I decided to pursue an MBA. I was fortunate enough to get into one of the top 20 B schools with a scholarship that reduced my tuition by about 30%. I got into tech consulting initially and then switched to product management after a couple of years. And there is a third update.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see how good she's doing.
It's been 3 years. I now live in the Netherlands.
All right.
Amazing. Also a great place. Switched over to another company last year. It's cold and wet most of the year, but this summer was glorious and at times hot enough to remind me of home. I went through therapy for a few months. I must admit that I was not fully committed to it, but talking/venting helps a lot. That and distance and time has definitely helped me heal. It's a bit hard making friends in the Netherlands. Most people seem to want to stick to their existing social circles. I have made a few friends through the expat community, but these friendships need more time and effort to become something worthwhile.
I bet.
By the way, you can join us to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. I'm trying to date now, signed up on a bunch of apps, haven't really had a lot of success so far, but I keep putting myself out there. I still miss my ex sometimes, especially on days when I'm unwell. I mean, you were with him for 7 years. Because it reminds me of how he used to take care of me and make me congee. I miss being cared for. And no, I haven't reached out. That chapter is truly done. I got a cat.
Nice.
She's a very loud girl. I'll add a photo on my profile. Life is kind of good, I guess. I need more friends. And there are some comments to finish off. Comment 1 says, the funniest thing about all of this is that I'm 90% certain that all his friends who were laughing about him having a sugar mommy and being a visa mule are now shaking their heads at him saying, I can't believe you let that absolute catch of a woman go.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. They're like, you Dumbo.
Yeah, honestly.
She was so great. Reply, notes for any straight men reading. If your homeboys ever tease you for your partner earning more than you, do not do what this guy did. Call those fools jealous and have her buy you more things to rub it in and worship the ground she walks on. If I had a partner making $300K, I'd be waiting on them hand and foot. Reply, the amount of men who whiff their love partners earning high salaries is astounding to me. If my partner was earning that much, I'd be showing them off and basking in the upgraded lifestyle. Reply, 100%. I saw a post the other day about how the story of Eve being born from Adam's rib is part of the history of robbing women of anything that puts them above men. Women belong in the kitchen, but only men can be chefs. Women should be school teachers, but have no place as professors or academics. Women should run the home, but the home man is the owner and his word is law. Anything to make women small. Comment 2 says, honestly, this is probably the most realistic outcome of everything. Opie still misses her boyfriend sometimes, who she dated for almost 7 years, and has struggles fitting in with the new culture. I do hope she's able to find a friend group. I've heard from friends that it is really hard to do that in the Netherlands. Maybe there are hobby groups or clubs? Also, the grin on my face when I think about him having to downgrade his lifestyle. I bet he misses being a kept man now. And that is the end of that story. My boyfriend refuses to be intimate with me because he believes it's a sin.
It's worth it though.
Both me, 26 female, and my boyfriend, 29 male, are Christian and have been dating for 3 years. We do and have always had spicy sleep up until yesterday, Tuesday. By the way, this comes from Old Chain 8506, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, he made the decision to stop having spicy sleep with me because he wanted to eliminate that sin from his life. I did not get a say, and me crying, actual mouth open sobbing, hyperventilating, ruining my contacts, the entire time we talked, a 6-hour conversation, did not change a thing. He said things like being with me in that way is rooted in evil and a mistake, and that having spicy sleep with me is an act of violence against his own body. Whoa, he said that this decision has brought him a lot of peace. He was kind of really happy about it. He didn't get upset until he saw how it unalived me inside. I was and am devastated. My devastation comes from a lot of places, including the situation coming up out of the blue. One of the last things he said to me on Monday night, the day before all of this, was, so you're gonna let me hit it tomorrow?
Wait, huh?
Real big switch up.
What?
Real big switch. It was playful and not weird, although it may sound that way. I am devastated because spicy sleep always made us feel so close and connected, and it was, and is for everyone, a way to be vulnerable and intimate with your partner. The suddenness of this and the classification of that closeness and intimacy as evil and a mistake has left me feeling lonely, abandoned, rejected, and betrayed. I'm not sure if I'm the a-hole for having a really hard time with this. I just don't know what to do about it. People deserve to have their religious views respected as well as their body autonomy. There's no rule that says he has to have spicy sleep with me, and I wouldn't want it if it was forced, you know? It's a weird situation to be in, being that the woman is usually the one to put the brakes on a spicy sleep life. It's really about the idea that I had no choice in this, that anything I have to say or feel about it will not alter the outcome, and the loss of a special kind of love, intimacy, vulnerability, closeness. I don't know if I can move forward with it, and I can't tell if that makes me wrong or bad or unreasonable. Pausing really quick. No. Does not. He is allowed, of course, to make any decision in regards to his body. If anyone at any point in a relationship says, I no longer want to have spicy sleep, totally fine.
Yeah.
Also totally fine for the other person in that relationship is to say, actually, that's a really important part of our relationship for me. I don't know if I can continue in this relationship.
It's the kind of thing that's like, it's a huge bummer. It doesn't mean that like one of you guys has to change. It just means that suddenly
you are
like,
no longer compatible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he wants to make that decision, fine, sure, that's his choice. He cannot make you feel bad for being like, oh, that's a really important part of the relationship for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can continue like that.
Exactly.
He says he's doing this because he loves me, that it's his job to lead me closer to Christ, and that he has no choice in the matter either. He's always said he wants a life with me, and we have talked about engagement frequently lately. We've both been saving to be able to put a down payment on some land to build a home on. Even during this conversation that we had, he made it clear that he still wants to be with me and doesn't want me to leave him over this. I don't know how I can stay with how much it makes me feel alone, rejected, dirty, abandoned, and betrayed. Does that make me a bad Christian, a bad girlfriend, a bad potential wife? I have the feeling I may very well be the a-hole. I am not entitled to any other person's body. It is just really painful to hear that being intimate with me is seen as an act of violence against his body. I only ever wanted to love him. I feel disgusted to even be in my own body or to even still want to have spicy sleep with him based on how he views it now. If I am the a-hole, please try to be nice to me about it. I'm always interested in learning and growing and becoming better. I'm just hurting really badly right now. Edit, more context for the situation. He was going off how spicy relations are wrong because the Bible says man shall not lay with man. Then I said I think it's wild that this wasn't even in the Bible until 1946, but has always been explicit in premarital spicy sleep being wrong. So why are you passing away on the related deal. And he said that he had actually been praying about us having premarital spicy sleep, and that because I brought it up, it was divine intervention and an answer to a prayer, and said spicy related intimacy is off the table now. Edit number 2, we talked in great detail about the way it made me feel. He was very calm and composed and treated me with a lot of love and compassion. However, he also said things like I was being delusional, you're not the victim, you're taking it too personally, and it's not about you, just for more context, I guess. That's not loving. That's not compassionate.
Yeah.
He's blaming you for having very valid thoughts and feelings about wanting spicy sleep in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in a relationship.
Right, I know. I think that's like the saddest part about it is that like he is suddenly having this relationship,
Yeah.
or this like realization of what he wants to do to feel better, and he's just projecting that on you.
All on you, yeah.
Like it's so not fair for you guys to both be like on the same page about this thing that's like seen as sinful,
and also
in some eyes.
Yeah, very consensual part of your relationship, it seems.
Yeah, and then like all of a sudden he's just like, no, I can't. That's bad. And you should feel bad too for being that way. And it's like, whoa. We're on different tracks here, man. We can't all have the same realization at the same time.
Exactly. He's having this huge like dump of religious guilt for some reason or another.
Yeah.
And is putting that on you is not your problem at all.
Mm-mm.
And also the wording of like, oh, you've committed like violence against my body.
That is so aggressive.
Like you had a consensual relationship that you now feel guilty for. Because of your religion, that's on you.
And if this is like a consensual relationship and suddenly it's violence against your body, why is it not violence against her body too? Like why is she the only one that's guilty?
Yeah, it's
here?
like, oh, you've tempted me. That's what it feels like.
Ugh.
Yeah, it feels like the Eve to the Adam kind of temptation.
Just so many things wrong with this.
Update. I realize I didn't give you guys the best context on the original post. Our relationship has only been 50% spicy sleep and 50% talking/watching movies on the TV for the past 6 months. So taking away spicy sleep without saying he was going to supplement it with anything, I had a big reaction. In the 6-hour conversation we had, I remember I kept saying, but it's all we do in relationship to him taking away spicy sleep. I knew it was a pathetic thing for a relationship, and I'm embarrassed to even tell anyone about it. We've been on 2 dates in the last 6 months, which is on par for how frequently we would go on dates. Maybe not the healthiest of relationships.
Yeah, maybe this is just a good time to
if
just
spicy
call
sleep
it quits.
if spicy sleep is all you do, and you never go on any dates, and now he's making you feel guilty for everything. So I took a couple of days of barely responding to him before I laid out my terms if we are to continue. During the time we barely spoke, he texted me a couple of times saying how badly he wanted to work it out and that he wanted me to talk about my feelings with him. I told him that if we are to continue, I have 4 terms. Non-spicy related intimacy, kissing, cuddling, and holding hands, but also intentional intimacy exercises like eye gazing. Going out on dates. He does tons of things with his family and friends from church, and I want to be included. I want to have dates like every other couple, both alone and with other people. Never use the Bible to control me. Not what I eat, not what I wear, how I should think, how I should act. Checking me with the Bible is fine, but never an immediate demand for change. Get tested. With the frequency of which we had spicy sleep and his absolute drive to F, I just want to know an STD wasn't the reason. It would have always been a doubt in my mind, and I didn't want to have doubts moving forward. This was by far the riskiest ask, but a very important one, because that's I didn't even think about that.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's why he doesn't want to sleep with you.
Maybe.
He agreed to the terms, but was pissed about the STD test. He said he would get one done today, but he's only texted me once today, so who knows? Which brings me to why I posted again. He is mad at me. All he wanted was to work everything out and to talk before I stated my terms, but after he was short with me and noticeably angry. His replies got less frequent. Now he doesn't know what to do about a relationship. He's praying about it. He started devaluing me last night, saying he feels numb, that he's honestly over it, that the way I talked to him, looked at him, and treated him are not ways his wife would. He said it's obvious that I don't respect him or love him and that now he doesn't know what to do. I panicked when he said this, and I started to try to talk to him about it. He responded way after I went to bed with only, sleep well, talk tomorrow. Then this morning he said, good morning, I love you, which was honestly not what I was expecting. I texted him back 30 minutes later, good morning, I love you. And he read that but never replied. Be for real, am I being manipulated? And if so, what the heck am I being manipulated into? Because I feel like I have no idea what's happening. Edit other information as him as a person. He swears a lot. I do too, but that's also technically a sin, so why not stop that too? It took me 5 months to get him from saying the full N-word with the hard R when referring to black people. Now he just calls them N-words, like literally says N-word in place of the word in the sentence. Girl, leave him. Whoa, you really buried the lead. That's a
Dude.
leave him.
Oh
That's
my
just a full
God.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's a good Christian. No, he's a bigot. Yikes.
That's a big turn.
Oh,
big detail there.
Big detail to leave
Yeah.
till the end.
Yeah.
Oh, he's and just the 3-in-1.
Yeah.
He made me watch the documentary What is a Woman, which was just effing painfully stupid in my opinion. Out of the blue, he said that I had to believe pregnancy termination is wrong or he was going to end the relationship immediately. Why are you with this man? Why are you with this terrible, terrible man? After days of fighting about it, I lied and told him what he wanted to hear. Why are we in a relationship with someone we have to lie to? I never get a pregnancy termination, so it wouldn't matter in our relationship, but I still very much believe that individuals who can get pregnant have the inherent right to determine whether they want to terminate or not. He has 2 sleeve tattoos and is also balding. LOL. Edit 2. He found my original post. He's very mad at the title, but did not debate anything I said. Update 2. So I broke up with him. Woo! Yes, girl! That man is trash. You guys were the only thing that allowed me to have the courage to do so. He didn't react and didn't really care. And the more I think about it, the more I truly believe he is a self-absorbed person. Talking about the DSM diagnosis. I was raised by my father, who was diagnosed with the same thing later in life when my parents were going through marriage counseling. They're divorced now. I think my upbringing had a lot to do with how well all of my ex's tactics worked on me. Yeah, that makes sense. It was familiar to be with him because he reminded me so much of my dad. I didn't clock it though because he didn't do any of the things that my dad did. My ex took on the role of father, which he knew I craved. I wanted someone to fix things for me, a rock to rely on, someone to protect me and keep me safe. He played into all of this to hook me and keep me hooked. I so desperately wanted to feel taken care of that I was willing to sacrifice my individuality. His mask only started to slip when I started to fight for my individuality and call out his ridiculousness. When I fought for it and called out his BS, he punished me by taking away spicy sleep. He knew it was important to me because it was the only way that him and I connected over anything meaningful. And if I was no longer going to boost his ego by ignoring his discrepancies and by being more afraid to lose him than to lose myself, then he was going to take something away from me too. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance that remains. At one point, there was nothing but love and admiration from him, reciprocation, communication, and desire to meet my needs. I realize now that all of that was transactional. I treat him like a god and he gives me what I want, to be loved, cherished, protected. When I don't treat him like he turns the ground to gold as he walks on it by having a complaint, he shows me just how replaceable and meaningless I am to him. I still love him and I definitely miss him. I'm not sure why I love him or miss him, being that there wasn't a lot of substance in the relationship to begin with. I'm afraid to start over at my age, 26 female. Oh girl, you are very young.
Yeah, you're good.
You are fine.
Yeah.
He made me believe that he was my last shot at being able to have a husband. Whoa, girl. I mean, I'm assuming that you live in a small town or somewhere in the South.
Yeah,
Because,
growing up Christian.
yeah, and growing up religious
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
You got time.
Like you can have kids for so
Yeah.
long, and like 35 is like when people get a little worried for like, you know,
Exactly.
like health and stuff like that. But like you can still have kids
Yeah.
at that time
Yeah.
and past it and stuff. So you're good at 26.
Big girl.
You've got at least a decade, dude.
Agreed.
At least.
He made me believe that he was my last shot at being able to have a husband and a family before I'm too old to conceive. When I was 25, he told me that women become exponentially more undesirable after 24. This man, Leonardo DiCaprio, which has stuck with me for a year. That's not true. I desperately want a family. I didn't have love in my childhood because my household was all about manipulation and control. I don't really know who I am without him. It does feel like I'm worthless now that I'm alone. That was hard too, being able to accept the new identity of single. I'm moving forward, desperate to move on. I'm afraid to begin living a life again with no one to fall back on. Somehow, during the relationship, I have isolated myself from my friends and family, so I really am starting over alone now. I was complicit in all of it. I have lots of shame and embarrassment from the relationship that I allowed that for myself. But you're allowed to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Poke Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story.
Yeah.
But do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just glad that she's out of there.
Me too.
Glad that you're out of there, OP. Glad that you're realizing all of this stuff because
Yes.
all of this like shame and guilt that he put on you is so not true.
So
And the fact that he said that thing about being 24 when you turn 25, it's like,
Crazy.
so you're just telling me now that I'm undesirable about
Yeah.
something that I cannot change, which is my age.
Aging.
Like, What? And also 25 is like so young.
So
still.
young.
So it's like what? He's gonna still grow older and
Yeah.
still won't date anyone under 24. It's
Apparently, I've
like-
got 1 year of desirability left.
freaking get on it.
I
man.
gotta move quickly.
Dude, no. That's crazy. So,
Bonkers.
glad she's out of there. She'll realize how much better off she is now.
Absolutely. But there is a little bit left. He is a bigot, and I told him as much when I broke up with him. For me, it is not an option to raise children in a home environment that I had. It effed me up for life, and I've been through years of therapy already. I knew something was up when I wrote my first post. That situation was the first time his mask really slipped. Thank you all so much for helping a stranger that needed it. All of you posted. I hope you get loads of good karma and all of the blessings. I am afraid to be alone, but you all helped me realize that feeling lonely for a little while is the only option I have if I want to get out alive. Thank you, and I love you all. It is my sincere hope that each one of you also receives the help you need from a stranger whenever you need it most. And that is the end of that story.
My boyfriend ditched my family trip after promising to go for months.
Oh, but like the boys.
My family is kind of a lovably weird in that they plan family trips well ahead of time to ensure a good deal on a rental house. I am talking 7 to 8 months ahead. We've booked this year's vacation. I let Sam know the dates. I told him it would be last week of July. I didn't expect him to remember it forever then, but thought I would give him the idea so we both could keep it in mind. By the way, this comes from Molly Ringworm 00, and if you were to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. I mentioned it casually, maybe once a month as a reminder, like, hey, my dad wants to go on this hike. And several times he would say, oh yeah, what are those dates again? And I would tell him. He even told my parents that he would go for the weekend of the week-long trip. They love him, and they were so excited. He said that he would be able to come up for the first part of the trip for a weekend. I was completely fine with that. While I love my family, I recognize a significant other may not want to spend a week with someone else's family. I should add, I didn't expect him to use any paid time off, was toying with using 1 day, which I was thrilled by. The trip would be paid for by my family. House, food, alcohol, etc. It's a 3-hour drive away and in a place that he loves. I should add that last year when my family was going to the beach for a week, I mentioned the trip a few times and he got annoyed. So I felt weird about it and stopped asking. I don't mean I was being obnoxious. I probably mentioned it once a month or so because he got annoyed. I stopped mentioning it a month or two before the trip. About 2 to 3 weeks before the beach trip, I asked him what his plans were. He said he had spaced and completely forgotten and that he would be on call. It's non-medical. It's people calling out of shifts, so he has to be in town even though it requires no action. That week, so he couldn't go. I was so disappointed. I really wanted to spend that time at the beach with him. I was only asking for a weekend. I talked to him about it a couple of times and I asked if he was nervous to spend time with my family or didn't like something about them. He assured me that that was not the case. We got into a fight and he said that he felt like he was a kid that missed an assignment and I was the teacher. It was really our first argument. This was almost 1 year into the relationship. He has hung out with my family maybe once a month or every 2 months for a couple of hours. We tend to do a meal, talk for a couple of hours. Then he goes sees his folks and does the same thing. His family doesn't take a yearly week-long trip, so I understand if it feels strange to him, but I don't see him as wanting to spend 2 nights as a big, huge ask. The punter is that earlier this year, he complained that I had too many trips. I occasionally do girls' trips with my friends and have tried to plan an occasional trip for him and me that I think he and I would like. He loves camping, so a camping trip with a reasonable amount of distance in a city we both want to see. For example, when he said this, I said, I will make an effort to cut back on trips, but I don't want you to feel like you have to come on all the trips. I want you to feel comfortable. The only trip I care about you coming this year is spending a weekend with me and my family in the mountains. Maybe he forgot I said this, but this really sticks out to me. Essentially, I gave him a ton of notice and said it was really important to me, and he told my parents and my sweet grandma that loves him that he would come for the weekend. Then last week, less than 3 weeks before the trip, I asked him what his schedule was like for July. He lets me know that unfortunately he's going to be on call that entire week and can't make it. He can, however, make it to other trips going on that month, go to a party at a friend's place, plans that were made several weeks ago. I was so disappointed. He told his work that the only week he couldn't be on call was the party house weekend. He didn't even attempt to ask me when my family trip was. I asked him why he didn't, and he said, well, we did schedule at 4 p.m. That's kind of a weird time to text you. It's not. He offered to come up up Thursday night, which is the last night of the trip. So he would arrive Thursday night and we would leave Friday morning after cleaning the house that morning. That does not sound like fun to me. I said no worries on coming up for the last night. Honestly, I don't even want him to come at this point. He didn't offer any other alternative, so I can absolutely tell he isn't interested in coming. We were supposed to move in together, but this plus a bunch of other stuff. I sat him down a couple of days ago and said I can't move in. There's just too many concerns. He was upset, but he said he understood. The other concerns on my end include him not being super verbal, him not wanting to talk on the phone or text much has gotten slowly, painfully better. This guy's cheating on you.
There's something afoot. He's either cheating or like he just doesn't care.
He's got to be cheating.
You know?
Not really calling you. He probably wants you to move in so you can cover half his freaking rent.
Right. I'm feeling very hobosexual with this guy.
Him not being incredibly motivated to switch jobs. He's been miserable for years, and I have helped him edit his resume, sent links, tried not to say anything, tried being super supportive. I've tried everything. I know it's up to him. Different drives, his being much lower. Different I have ideas of how to go out. I like an occasional brewery, and he would prefer to stay at home and watch Netflix. Different ideas of diet. He doesn't really like fruits or veggies and eats out a ton. Getting a little better, but I eat fairly healthy and I exercise 3 to 4 times a week. Honestly, I wonder, is he even that into me? Then he will come over and be all cuddly and sweet and excite me and be excited to see me. I have never experienced something this confusing before. The verbal stuff and texting and eating were getting better, so I naively thought he would come on this trip this time. He is sweet, kind, and funny, and very affectionate and loving and caring. But I think I have hit my limit. Am I being unreasonable here about the vacation? Is it ridiculous to expect a significant other to come on a part of a family trip 2 years in? Update. It's been 3 weeks and a lot has happened.
Yes.
First of all, thank you to everyone that read and responded. I sat him down day after making that post and I broke up with him. He was devastated. Didn't see it coming at all, even though I had said we should wait to live together and we had a discussion about me being unhappy. I didn't cry. I wasn't even that upset. I think that tells me that I was getting over the relationship slowly and had known for a while that it wasn't meant to be. I mentioned the trip situation as the other different spicy sleep drives and some other reasons. He asked if there was anything he could do or say, and I said no. I was very nice to him, but very firm that it was over between us. I left that evening and we met up a week later to talk at his request. He had some friend overlap, so I thought it might be best. He told me he never thought I would leave. It never even crossed his mind that I would ever be frustrated enough to go. He said that several times, that he always thought there was always tomorrow to make things better. It was odd to me. I mean, we had like 5 to 6 conversations over the 2 years with me saying, hey, I'm not feeling loved and I'm not feeling fulfilled here. Here is where it gets bizarre. He told me that the reason he hadn't wanted to hang out 2 nights in a row ever and just did his own thing and never wanted to go grocery shopping together or do things was that he was preparing for moving in for a full year by getting in as much bachelor time as he could. I asked if this was a conscious decision and he said yes. That just blows my mind. I asked him if he thought making the relationship weaker made sense for me to move in with him. He said, well, when you put it like that, no. R/relationships. I'm baffled. I don't know whether to believe that explanation or not, but it really doesn't matter. It just affirmed that I made the right decision, something I have not doubted for a second. Of course, now he's all chatty Cathy and trying to show me he cares, but I told him we need to not talk anymore. There is literally nothing he can do that could change my mind. I told him that an effort after a breakup feels hollow to me, that I don't want a foundation like that for my relationship. That actions taken after a breakup are typically just to reduce pain. They aren't real change. That if he wanted to hang more with me or initiate spicy sleep with me, etc., he would have, especially after many conversations. Oh, and the low spicy sleep drive thing? Turns out he's a regular user to the pornography. He was lying about that the entire time. I never knew because we didn't spend enough time together for me to understand.
That's why he's not initiating.
And I, of course, never checked his stuff, so I had no clue. Usually I'm intuitive, but I trusted him that he would turn me down after I was gone on a 7-day trip, that it wasn't because he had done things a bunch. The fact that he was lying about it and chose to do it oversee me. That is so disappointing. I know I can do a lot better. He told me he would think about me and want me, but it was just easier to do things himself rather than to call me up. I told him numerous times I would love spontaneously come over. It's a 15-minute drive, and he never once took me up on that. Dude, that is just a bigger conversation than just this guy. I feel like that's a whole nother conversation with men in this kind of thing.
Well, he hit the nail on the head where it's like it's easier to do this than to maintain a channel of communication with another human being and then have to, it is easier to just have a one-way interaction through a screen, but that's bad for you. It's bad for your brain. It's bad for your relationships.
I'm not going to let it make me feel badly about myself, though. I know there have been people in the past that really enjoy spicy sleep with me, and there will be someone in the future. I am over it. And guys, please don't be over us, because we can have spicy stories to read, just like this one. All you gotta do is go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, search up OK Story Time for spicy stories just like these. He told me that it wouldn't be an issue if we got back together. That is insulting, because either he just wasn't interested in spicy sleep with me, but suddenly, if it means we can get back together, or he was just lazy about it or something. I don't know which is worse. He said he feels like he has made the biggest mistake of his life. Probably has. I knew he didn't have a lot of relationship experience, but dang, 29 seems like a tough age to learn this particular life lesson. To value what you have and not take it for granted. P.S. I'm on the family trip now with my family and having an absolute blast. Not 1 ounce of me has missed him or wished he was here. Yeah, of course, after learning that, I would not miss this person either. Dang, that OP. Dude, I'm gonna have to give it to you. You gave yourself a medal of valuing yourself, and everyone deserves that.
Yeah, you did it the right way. My boyfriend opened a credit card under my name without asking permission.
Jail.
A literal jail. My boyfriend John and I met at a seasonal position just over 3 years ago, and when I went to finish my studies in college after my contract was over, he moved in with me. By the way, this comes from user I can't think of a name. Woo! And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. My parents were supporting me a bit, and I was working a couple jobs at my university along with going to school. So when John struggled to find a job, as the town we lived in was notorious for having a terrible job market, I didn't worry too much. He worked a part-time job at Target for a couple months and sold a lot of his belongings to help pay the bills. Soon, John began bouncing from job to job, either them letting him go because they were overstaffed, or he would become extremely depressed because he felt all he was doing with his life was playing catch-up on bills and washing dishes. I understood his feelings and sympathized because I've had depression almost all my life, so I didn't mind supporting us, even though I was extremely stressed and stretched out. I would try to help him find a job or try and help him volunteer somewhere to help with his depressed feelings, but he didn't want to volunteer because he said he needed to get paid to support us, but the jobs just weren't hiring. Fast forward to my last semester of college, I found out I was pregnant and couldn't keep the baby because I wasn't ready by any means, and my parents threatened me if I got pregnant in college with various cruel words.
Great parenting.
Props to Abe. Good job, parents.
Nice.
That's the best way to keep someone from getting pregnant is to make them as afraid of it as possible.
Wow.
I struggled thoroughly with my depression because I really wanted a baby and just knew it wasn't time. John did the same because all he ever wanted was to be a father. But I thought we could band together and work through it. I got a really good job and was about to get my degree. He had just left a job, but we were doing okay. Struggling financially and not always eating dinner, but no worse than a lot of my friends who were supporting themselves as well. Fast forward again about 3 months, and I find out about a month after my pregnancy ended, John had taken out a credit card in my name and spent money with it.
What?
What?
No.
I confronted him.
Good.
After I called my credit card agency.
Nice.
He did a credit card off my main credit card, which I didn't know. Oh, I don't know how that works. Ask Capital One. I called them to figure out why I was being charged 2 monthly fees and found out he had taken it out, and by recognizing the email he used to make an account. He denied it at first, but finally broke down and said he really wanted to help me build my credit. Finances were a big factor on not having a child. And he was going to pay the bill once he was working again?
Wait. He's like, no, babe. Babe, I have to tell you. I took out a credit card in your name because I wanted to help you build your credit.
I wanted to give you a big, sparkly, shiny 800.
Your credit score is at 650, and I just thought it could go up.
I was furious, and I told him so. He explained he doesn't actually know how credit cards really work.
Yeah,
Go figure.
That's pretty obvious, my friend.
He was raised in foster care, which is, I guess, the excuse he gave to understand
He's like,
understand
I don't
credit, which
understand how
doesn't
credit
make sense.
Because I was raised in foster care.
I told him to never pull this stunt again and that he was on thin ice. After a few weeks, I cooled down and I told him if he did anything else like this, it was time to let me know so we could deal with it. I told him I would be mad, but I would rather he tell me right now so we can work with it and move on. He said no, so we moved on.
I think you did something else.
I have a feeling.
Dude, I would have checked I would have gone to my bank and said, like, is there any suspicious activity on anything?
So John ended up getting another job and said he would help me pay off a credit card. So I said sure and was very excited that I was getting help paying bills and proud that he was helping me. It turns out that wasn't the case, and the bills were not getting paid on this credit card, and he had been using it, and it was overdue and maxed out. I didn't monitor anything on it because I trusted him, which is stupid.
Yeah.
I confronted him over it and said, I don't know how to handle this anymore. He apologized and so on and so forth. Well, by then, a bunch of outside factors were affecting us. We were living with a self-absorbed roommate who was stealing my things and overcharging us for rent, and I was dealing with a lot of past trauma that suddenly surged into the forefront of my life. So I was really just at the end of my rope. We packed up and moved out to do some seasonal work again just to try and get everything settled. Girl, this is when you leave.
This is when you leave.
That's when you leave. You said, hey, don't ever do anything like this again. You're on thin ice. And that's that.
And then that's it.
He did it again. Now he should have fallen through that ice.
And also he lied to you.
Right. It's time to stand on business.
Stand on business.
If you renege on this, you're just teaching him he can get away with whatever he wants. I told John that now that we're both employed, I needed him to help me pay back those bills, that these were his fault as much as mine, which, no, they were way more his fault than yours because you were not responsible for that.
Yeah, they were
What are you
just
talking
his
about?
fault. They're just in your name.
Right. He needs to help me clean up the mess he made. He broke down and said he's working as hard as he can and we're getting paid so little and that he feels all I want from him is money.
You keep stealing her money.
Not even stealing her money, you're stealing her credit.
You're stealing her
it's
identity.
not even money. It's money you don't have that she will owe. Do you think a credit card is just free money?
Is money.
I thought this was the free plastic rectangle.
This guy is
Fool.
oblivious.
Fool. Did you go to the foster care system where they have a machine that sucks the brain out of your head?
Yeah.
And that you can't think anymore? What? So my idiot boyfriend thinks all I want from him is money. I tried to tell him that's not the case. I'm just sick of feeling like I handle all the finances and that he spent money that was under my name while I had to take the responsibility to pay it back. I told him I felt like he was using me, and he explained that he wouldn't have sold almost all his possessions if he was using me, and he's doing the best he can to save up and pay things back. Committing credit card fraud is not doing your best.
No, it's doing your worst.
He hasn't paid things back. And I get yelled at if I do because we have to save to see my family. They've demanded it, then the plane ticket has already been purchased, and we have to save to move somewhere after this seasonal job ends. But I'm getting pestered by collectors constantly, and my credit score is not good. I explained that I feel my credit score is important to moving and making a new life because housing and jobs take that into consideration. And he says I'm stressing too much. Girl, you just leave this guy.
Yeah, he sucks. I'm like literally stealing stuff from you.
I don't feel like I'm stressing too much, but I have a history of being extremely hard on myself and demanding perfection. I'm worried I'm just demanding perfection of him too. I can honestly see he's trying and working extremely hard, but I feel like he could be doing more. And every time I bring it up, he gets so sad because he can tell it's hurting me.
That's crazy. You're giving him way too much credit.
He has like reverse Stockholm syndrome or something. Or like you do.
I'm trying so hard. And you're like, I feel so bad because I'm being so hard on him. I mean, like, I get that he's trying. Even after he stole my credit, he's still trying.
Yeah, not to mention he's committed financial fraud against you.
Financial fraud.
You should press charges against him and break up with him. I'm worried he's trying to fix it and I don't see it because I only understand one way of fixing this, and that's paying everything off. whereas he sees fixing it as saving up and making sure we don't have to go into debt anymore. Am I being too hard on him or too impatient with trying to repair things financially, or am I just ignoring red flags because I love the bugger to death? And there's an update.
You're
We've already said to
ignoring
run.
red flags left and right, girl. Pay attention to those red flags because they're only getting redder.
Update. Thank you all for the thoughts and insight. I guess I told a lot of information without some other things I did. After I found out about the initial credit card stuff, I canceled those cards immediately and cut them up after confronting John and taking them. I started studying my credit reports and such for the first time and have been trying to budget. We live in a place that takes rent and food out of our paychecks, so those bills are not a worry currently. And by the way, you can worry about listening to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, all you got to do is search OK Storytime. And then you can listen to over 2,000 episodes. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wee wah.
This relationship cannot continue.
Like, what would have to happen? Would he have to
pay off any of the loans?
Steal cash? Like, what would he have to do to get you to see that you should leave? Steal jewelry? Like, he's stolen from you. Like, he stole your identity.
Refuses
and
to
gave
pay
you
off your
debt. That is the same thing as stealing money from you.
Yes.
And he goes, relax. Relax, babe. Make him face the consequences. Don't just break up with him. Make him face the consequences of criming you. He crimed you. Crimed you a river. Let's finish this story. I spoke to him last night and told him I felt he was manipulating me to get away with this, and he took it very well. There were no tears and no yelling. We spoke like adults. I told him that a lot of things he was saying felt like utter BS around those credit cards, and he explained he's an idiot about credit and has gone his whole life without knowing anything about it. This is the only bad thing he's done, and it wasn't out of spite. That may sound stupid to some of you, but it's clear to me, and that's why I'm still here. We're working on a lot of financial plans, and when we live in civilization again, I'm going to look into getting both of us into financial counseling and probably regular counseling. It's hard to know total situations without knowing both parties. And accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm deeply grateful for those of you who opened your minds and hearts on this situation and reached out to me. It really means a lot.
Well, I don't know. We don't know your relationship, I guess. We only know what you told us, and you told us he frauded you. So,
of course, every moment of your relationship is not going to be your boyfriend committing fraud against you.
This is true.
But we can't let the good times, like,
allow us to forget that he frauded.
Right, like
he committed the fraud, the big fraud.
It's the bank robber. The bank robber walks into the bank dressed like a bank robber, and you can go into the vault, and he takes the money, and you go, what's up with that? He goes, I don't know, I didn't mean to.
It's just my nature.
I just don't know how to take money out of the bank the right way. I don't know. And you go, okay, well, next time you come in, you get a withdrawal slip and you get some money out of the bank, and it's okay. Next time he comes in, he has a bigger bag. He goes into the vault. He takes even more money, and he goes,
I just don't understand.
You know me.
I was raised in the foster care system.
I was raised in the foster care system. I'm a U.S. Marshal. But yeah, it's have your line, know when it's crossed, and if it goes there, you got to break up with him.
Yeah. I let my friend move into my home. He trashed it.
Trash Panda?
I, 34 female, bought my own home in Michigan a year ago, completely by myself. To this day, every bill, repair, payment, and furnishing has been paid for solely by me. This is important later and not a brag. I swear, it's a beautiful 100-year-old house that I'm hoping to restore one day. Seems like you're going to have to do a lot of restoration now. By the way, this comes from Empty Moment 4722 on the r/Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for context, I was phoned about 5 months ago in November by my friend's boyfriend, Alex, 36 male, because he'd lost his job. They were thinking of moving to the area I'd bought a house in and wanted to be roommates until they could get back onto their feet. At this time, they lived 2 states away from where I own a home, and since their rental lease was up come April, they were going to need somewhere in between to at least move their stuff to while they looked for a place. I agreed under the stipulations that since I travel for work, they A, maintain the house's current state of cleanliness. I'm not a clean freak, but I expect a reasonably tidy home. No underwear on the floor in shared spaces. No rotting food on the counters or in the fridge. Vacuum once a week. Wash your dishes. Clean the bathroom once a week, etc.
Sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, that doesn't seem hard at all. Just don't keep rotting food in the fridge. B, we all later discussed and agreed that they together would pay half of the mortgage payment, which was less than half their existing rent, plus whatever gas electric they used while I wasn't home. I would pay sewer, water, garbage collection, my half of the mortgage, and repairs and maintenance, normal house stuff. I pay my mortgage at the end of the current month for the next month, so I'm never late on payments with banking errors or whatnot. C, no one would come over to the house when I wasn't there that I hadn't already met. I have multiple different past traumas regarding my home space being mistreated, robbed, and destroyed that I requested to have respected. D, the bulk of their stuff would be stored in the massive room downstairs and the bedroom I provided, second only to the master, besides obvious things like hygiene products in the bathroom and pans in the kitchen, etc. E, since they were moving from out of state and I'm working out of state, open communication has to be kept about who is at the house and when on both sides so that if a bill has to be picked up, a service call has to be dealt with, or something is wrong, we know who is at the house so it can be dealt with. F, we'd partner collectively for someone to be at the house if any services have to be done. G, if something needs to be borrowed, it needs to be expressly discussed beforehand, not an afterthought or something I find out later. That's a huge breach of my trust. H, I have 3 people in my life that have expressed permission to be at my house for asylum. They agreed this list was 100% fair. They know all 3 people and understood their situations were rocky and they could need to get out of their homes at a moment's notice. However, as soon as I knew this could be possible, either myself or these individuals would let them know so they wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Before giving these people this agreement, do you have any inkling that they will not hold up to this?
Yeah, like, do you know anything about their previous apartments have been?
Yeah, because I would be, hey, do you have any, who are your previous
landlords?
Landlords.
Yeah, call up the landlords. I think that if you are this kind of worried and have had bad experiences before, I don't think it's wrong to be like, I need your references and stuff. I want to make sure, like, let's have a contract. Let's not just say this out loud and expect it to happen. They're living in a place that you own. So there has to be a little bit of, logistical talk happening that involves contracts.
Because with all these rules that you have, that you've laid down, I can already see what's about to happen.
Yep. I wouldn't clean out my library from the room they were moving into, but would leave the guest bed and dresser so they had furniture to move stuff into. There was still plenty of space to put additional furniture. This was just to get them started. Further, whenever I'd reach out to my friend prior to this and his girlfriend Anna, 37 female, about arrangements, either she'd defer the conversation to Alex or he'd randomly start messaging me about the conversation. So all communication that wasn't in person between the 3 of us was between him and I. We had this conversation of terms and agreed to them all in person in February of this year. By the beginning of March, I had no room to sit on my couch because it was overrun with stuffed animals. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Seems like a really easy fix.
Do they like to go to the carnival a lot?
Yeah, it's just like those giant pandas. Alex had moved into the house completely and had been living there since the middle of February without informing me to start the job he'd gotten in the area. Great. I asked if this meant he was moving up when we agreed to rent starting, since he'd moved in early. He seemed gobsmacked. He asked, well, why would we do that? I said, because you moved in early. Literally every bill has gone up because you've been there. You'll have been here a full month and a half earlier than we agreed to. I'm doing you a favor, and because you haven't communicated with me, I'm supposed to eat the living costs of you being here? He then claimed he thought he talked to me about him moving in early. Come on. You don't just forget that you haven't talked to your friggin' friend/landlord.
Red flag number 1.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he hadn't even mentioned it. Yeah, no kidding. only that he'd gotten a job, but no start date, nothing. We addressed his lack of communication. He promised to do better. He'd pay his half, a quarter of the mortgage for the month of March, since he was there and he didn't communicate, and we'd all move on as this was fair. At this point, it wasn't about the money, but the principle. Our friend group had a very late friend's Christmas party due to all our schedules being completely conflicting. During this party, I hosted alone, even though Alex and Anna were both in town for this party, so I did almost all the cooking. Some friends brought food to make or just to serve potluck style. I did all the cleaning. The only thing I asked was that Alex take the garbage out and to the curb on Monday, our garbage day. This was on Saturday, as I had to leave town to return to work and wouldn't be back for at least 3 weeks. He agreed. I went back to work. All's fine and dandy. Until I get a Facebook message from the previous owners of my home informing me that the neighbors reached out to them in desperation because it'd been almost a week and they couldn't get a hold of me or anyone at the house. My neighbor had hit the gas meter on my house and our gas was shut off. So I call Alex because if he turns any fire on in the house, it could blow. Oh my gosh.
What?
I'm so scared. This is when I find out not only has he lost his new job, he has also moved back to Iowa in the meantime to continue packing and moving their stuff into my house without bothering to tell me.
Okay, so he's not there.
Well, at least your house isn't going to blow up.
Yeah.
At this
All right.
point, I'll admit I lost my cool. I'm at work 6 hours away, desperately trying to make it back to my home that has had the gas shut off during nearly freezing temperatures that the gas company cannot turn back on without having someone in the house to let them in. And this is when I find out he's not even in the state. He said, "Oh, I thought I told you. I must have forgotten."
Hey, don't forget to stop packing because you're not going to be coming here anymore.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, you're not allowed to be in the house anymore.
This was a fun idea.
Yeah, didn't work out.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna work, bud. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can head there now if you'd like. I said, forget it. I hung up on him and called a friend, Ken, who lives almost 2 hours away, for help. Ken got to the house, checked it all out. It's all fine. Crisis averted. I find out also around this time that, oh, by the way, during the last set of storms that blew your way, you have a whole corner of the roof shingles that are completely ripped off your house. You might want to get those looked at. Awesome. Alex informs me the next day he's coming back into town with a load of their stuff to drop off, so he can be there when the gas company arrives to turn everything back on. Ken agrees to be there for the roof repairs. That's great. I turn back around and go back to work. Gas meter gets fixed. Neighbors super sorry. I get a service order with dates put in for the roof. Life moves on. I come home after the 3 weeks of being gone to all the lights in the basement on, and my house smells rotten.
No.
Imagine musty, moldy chicken, soured honey ham, spoiled green beans, and other vegetables I cannot recall or recognize. Old gas station food wrappers that got caught in the mix and couldn't escape. Truly rancid stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So I asked Alex why the lights were on. He said he must have forgotten about them when he was there 2 weeks ago. This is his favorite reply.
Dude.
I forgot.
Here's what you do. You take everything out of the house, put it away, change the locks, all that jazz. And when he comes in, try and, get back in the house. Hey, man, why can't I get in? Oh, I forgot I changed the locks. Oh, I forgot, you're not living here. I should have told you.
Totally slipped my mind. Sorry.
Please, OP.
OP, you can't stand for this.
You can't.
I mean, at this point, OP's already said, oh, forget it. Don't worry about it. No. The first sign of that trouble, you're like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not in the state. I'm not close by. I'm 6 hours away. We have made a deal. Are we going to have to sign a more thorough contract that says what I need you to do? Because right now you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain. I said that cannot happen unless you're paying the bill. He apologized. We move on. I then ask if he ever took the garbage out after the party like we talked about. His response, no, I haven't been there. I have been at the house about as much as you have been the last few weeks, lol. I said, so the one thing I implicitly asked you to do, you couldn't be bothered? I lost my cool again and hung up on him. So I went to the fridge. Sure enough, the food I spent hundreds of dollars on, hours cooking, weeks planning, was rotting in the fridge because even though he'd said he'd be there to eat it and was looking forward to enjoying the leftovers, he'd left them in the fridge to rot. I checked the garbage can. Sure enough, it was full of rotten food, additional garbage he'd added since he was back and forth, and maggots. I saw red. I took all the food out of the fridge and threw it all away and spent the next 2 hours airing out and cleaning my house, dishes, and fridge. By the time I was done, the house was back to its clean state. I could breathe again, and the smell of rancid, passed away raccoon had finally faded. Let me tell you, that was the coldest cleaning day in my existence. 100% do not recommend. I addressed it with him, got a half-hearted apology at best, and we moved on.
Dude, girl.
Stop moving on.
Girl.
This is where you say, oh, I'm drawing the line.
Drawing the line and singing him an invoice.
Yeah.
For the cleaning.
Exactly.
Oh, you can't pay it? It's okay. I got a lot of your stuff here I can probably sell.
Yeah.
But that might not be worth anything. Oh my gosh.
I found Christmas totes on sale, which I needed to put away at my Christmas decorations. I knew they were moving, so I asked Alex if he wanted any of them. He asked for 5. I said, okay, pay me back when you get the chance, and brought both his and mine home. Flash forward a couple weeks, all the totes are gone except for one I was already using. Every single one of the 11 that were empty were gone. So I asked Alex about them. He said, oh, I thought we talked about those. I took them back to Iowa with me while I fill them with our stuff to bring things back with. I said we talked about the 5 you asked for that you haven't paid for yet, not all 11. I'd like mine back so I could put my Christmas decorations back. It's February. They shouldn't still be up. He said, oh, my bad. I'll buy new ones and move our stuff over as soon as I get back. I figured this was the end of it. Nope. He buys new totes, sends me a picture of the different colored totes, and says, here are your new totes. I'll bring them to the house next time I'm there. Excuse me? You say, what? So I said, oh, that's kind. However, you can just return my totes. No big deal. He starts trying to convince me just to leave them with the totes they took from me, since these are the exact same model totes. So they didn't have to move their stuff out of the ones I'd bought. I repeated, I just like mine back, thank you. He finally relented, and I figure that was that. I mean, if OP's getting this upset about totes, kick this guy out. You hate him. You hate him.
Dang, totes. Totes is such a funny word.
It is a funny word. I agree. It's been a month and he still hasn't moved their stuff out of my totes so I can put my Christmas decorations away properly. It's now the middle of April and the empty and full totes are both still there.
Oh my gosh.
Girl, dump them out. What are we doing? But now I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to March. Alex calls me and informs me that, hey, during one of his job interviews, they asked him if he'd be willing to relocate to Indiana for work. Anna and I discussed it, and there's nothing really holding us to Michigan. So we agreed we'd go start looking for and applying for jobs in Indiana. I have a friend who lives down there that I've already talked to, who said we could live with them until we get a place, and we'll just leave all our stuff in Michigan with you until we actually buy a place. This way we don't have to move stuff again and again until then.
Buy a storage unit.
No.
Storage unit. That's what they do. That's
yes.
the purpose of that. Girl, if you don't put this house on Airbnb, what are you doing? You're losing money.
Yeah. Alex hadn't even applied for the job yet, but they'd already worked out alternate accommodations. He'd set up the interview for there, and they had plans in place for it. Cool, thanks for putting into consideration all I've done for you and everything you've given your word for. Nothing that really held you here. But good for you, buddy. I took this to mean I didn't need to finish cleaning out the bedroom they were moving into, as they were no longer moving in. I even confirmed, where am I to house guests since you are not moving in? As I normally did, was the response. So I left the room alone and continued on with everything else I had to do. I find out a week later that Alex got the job. However, he's worried he won't be able to keep it, as the one he got fired from maybe caused him to lose the job he'd had for maybe 2 weeks. I asked him, why was that? He said, oh, because I got fired from the first one for stealing from the company and getting caught. I panic. Say, what the F now?
Okay.
This is OP's trauma.
Is this your line? Wait, her trauma?
Yeah, she said that she had terrible experiences of people trashing her house and stealing from her.
I thought this was happening now.
It is. But she also had past experiences where people did that.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm not saying like her trauma's bad, but if someone's like trashing your house, wouldn't you draw the line there?
You would think, hey, oh, no, you're not coming over here. But OP's very easily swayed.
Girl, you can have boundaries. I don't think she knows the definition of boundaries.
I don't think so. She's like, oh, I don't know. Be annoyed at them, but invite them in your house? That's a boundary?
Just, clean up after them. Why not?
So during this conversation, Ken is at the house for the roof repair. I call him to ask him to go through my house. He says he'll go through the house, but the roof repair is done. Everything's good. I let Alex and Anna know everything's good. Yay! Until I get a call back from Ken. He tells me the house doesn't look like anything's missing, but what happened to my house? I'm confused and anxious. What's wrong? He said there's stuff everywhere. I said I'll take care of it once I'm home because I cannot handle it at this point, and it's only 1 week, but thanks for letting me know. Ken also asks me if there's any reason why the basement lights were left on when he got there. I said no and asked Alex. He'd forgotten to turn them off again when he was there earlier in the week, so he'd been adding to the electric bill for almost a week again.
Girl, why are you so nice? This is what happens whenever you have chronic PP.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
CPP.
you just let people walk all over you.
You have no backbone. You got your wet toast spine. Please don't do this.
To take this further, in the middle of March, I became extremely sick, was almost hospitalized, and we're still not exactly sure what was wrong. It wasn't the vid, but that's all we know for sure. So long story short, I didn't make it home for that week that I was supposed to. Anyway, I was supposed to help them move the rest of their stuff into my house during that time. I blame the curse of the people pleaser. We called it. For offering in the first place. Stop.
CPP, get fixed today.
Get help today for $19.99.
Call somebody.
Call someone. Obviously, I was too sick to do this and stayed with my boyfriend during this time so he could take care of me. When I got back to my house after being really sick, I find their stuff everywhere. There is now officially 2 rooms in the entire house that do not have a single item of theirs. The only rooms not conquered by their stuff, my bedroom and the laundry room. At this point, I'm livid. We had set guidelines and discussions in place. Why is my house now overrun by their stuff when this is expressly not what we agreed on? When I texted to ask about it because I now trust nothing verbally discussed, Alex hops in to inform me that they had issues with some of the items being too heavy. So they put them at the bottom of the stairs, and that will be the first stuff taken out as soon as they get a place. I asked about the dresser in the dining room and was informed that's because the bedroom wasn't cleaned out like discussed. I said that's because you said you weren't moving in.
Never try to reason with a fool. You're reasoning time and time again.
Yeah, they don't understand what you're saying. You're going to say, why did you do this? And he's going to say, I forgot.
That's the only response he has.
He doesn't remember any other responses. He's got one. That's it. I said, that's because you said you weren't moving in. Why would I clean out a bedroom you're not moving into? I asked about the stuffed animals. He said, yeah, I didn't have space in the bedroom. I told him, we'd discussed this before. I cannot sit on my couches. That's not what we agreed on. They needed to be moved. The stuff in the garage? I wanted to mount them in the basement, but wanted to wait to talk to you first. So we agreed on where to put them, and the rolling bar was too heavy to go down your stairs. I asked, why? You're not moving in, remember? Also, if you need to make adjustments, you should have asked or talked to me, not just put stuff anywhere. We discussed a set place, and none of these are in that place. It's been weeks, almost a month, since this discussion. They haven't moved. Kick them out. Kick them out. It's to the point that when I come home, I go to my boyfriend's house instead of my own because mine is being overrun by roommates that are not even living there. Ken is literally begging me to change the locks in the house, give him a key, and he'll meet them whenever they need to go to the house so that I don't have to worry about my stuff being stolen. And I'm to the point of sincerely wondering if my kindness was a mistake. Yeah. Well, the problem is that your kindness is fine, but you just didn't set any boundaries in an effective way. So fast forward to today. I found out the dates for the next time I'm to be home. I'd like to set up to have some work done on the house. To recap, it's now April. I haven't been paid a single penny, not for the totes, the bills, the rent, or at this point for storage. OP, you gotta do something. I'm paying for when Alex was living at the house and for them to store their stuff at my house. Alex is a thief and didn't bother to tell me until it was too late for me to refuse for them because they had keys to my house. They barely, if at all, notify me when they're coming and going in the house. My Christmas totes are still full of their stuff. My house is overrun by their stuff, even though they're not even living there, but are living in and only visit maybe once a week to pick up the mail. I receive no communication regarding their comings and goings in my house. I'm getting reports that the house is basically trash right now, but I haven't seen it to confirm. They're not upholding their agreements at all. And that's when you kick them out. That's what agreements are for. If they're not upholding them, you say goodbye. I'm sure there's more that I've either forgotten or am just too exhausted from my newfound lifestyle as a writer on here to type out. Either way, the facts are that I'm starting to feel really used and would really just like to have my house back. So would I be the a-hole for changing the locks on my house after agreeing to let them live with me? So they have to actually hold to their agreements, notify me when they're coming and going at the house. I actually have locks that work for all my doors, and I can have some peace of mind and control back over my own home. There is an update, folks, but OP keeps saying, like, they didn't listen. They violated the agreements we had. They violated the agreements. If someone violates your agreements, you set a boundary. You say, okay, if you do this, this will happen.
Draw a line in the sand.
Draw a line.
I think that's her problem. She has these boundaries and things, but herself,
they're so easily moved.
She just doesn't draw that line at all. And she
They've
just
been
puts
here
herself.
for months not paying anything.
You know how much money you're losing driving 6 hours there and back?
Exactly. To check on the house that they're ruining? Like, if they are ruining it, you have reasonable cause to say, get out.
Yeah.
This isn't working.
Yeah.
But there's an update. I really hope that you get rid of them. I changed the locks. Finally. As many of you pointed out, I had indeed given Alex and Anna too many chances and had now effectively taken up residence as a doormat.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anna is the wife.
I think so. So while I was home from my workout upstate, I scheduled some maintenance and added some new rules. They can only enter the house if Ken and I are present, as we have the only keys. They need to get their mail forwarded to their new address or have it go to the post office for them to receive it, as I no longer want it coming somewhere they are not living. They have until the end of the month to get their stuff out of my house, or I will. I also have my totes back.
Let's go.
OP loves these totes. The Christmas decorations are finally down and stored properly. I really think that was a lot easier than you made it seem. I feel like we just could have emptied the totes out.
I don't think so.
Who knew that would be such a ridiculously eventful situation? Oh, and for the tea, Anna was 100% in the dark about what Alex was pulling. She had no idea he wasn't communicating with me, and as he's been lying to her about it from the beginning and insisting on handling everything to make it easier on her.
Or
she's lying.
She forgot.
Yeah. She's like, he never told me. And Alex is like, no, I definitely did. And she's like, I forgot. That has now been rectified after he received a wonderfully glorious butt chewing when I surprised the two of them at my house to confront them about the BS they've been pulling. My only regret about the conversation, that I hadn't made popcorn to enjoy the show. And there is a second update, and I think final update, folks. But I think OP finally is developing that spine that she's been lacking the whole story.
My heart has been just like, this whole time. This is wild.
It is. I think that, again, anyone out there who's doing a favor for a friend, if it is longer than, a couple weeks, if it is more expensive than a couple, like $100, I don't know, then write up a contract, write up some agreements about when you want that money back, about when you want them to leave, about what you want them to do while they're at that place. And if they break it, they're done. They're gone. But there is a second update and final update. I have my house back. They're 100% moved out. I'll be so excited. It seems that even after our conversation at the house, that Alex still had much he'd kept Anna in the dark about. It seems their relationship might be a bit more precarious all of a sudden. However, that's not my story to tell. So after our brief conversation, I began working in the shadows. I compiled a detailed timeline with receipts of costs, broken agreements, breakdowns in communication, and where exactly he had begun to take advantage. I typed this up and sent it first to her with a brief message at the top stating that I don't know what she has been aware of or not, but here are the facts as I know them. Then again, I sent the same message to him with read receipts to prove they've seen them. I gave them until April 30th to remove all of their belongings. She apologized profusely and stated he had much to work on and that she would be more present in the lines of communication going forward, since that is clearly one of his opportunities. By the way, you have many opportunities to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts? Yeah, I mean, she cannot catch a break.
OP can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Either. Anna. Oh, I don't know how much I'll buy this Anna story.
I don't know if I buy it. Because how did she not know? I mean, like, they were living in a pigsty. Was she not there? Was she never around?
Yeah.
suspicious.
Very.
But OP's finally kicked him out, so let's bring her home. He also apologized, but in a sort of backhanded way that didn't really feel like an apology, and said he'd make it up to me as it was his responsibility. Lesson to anyone else eating crow, maybe don't use the term to your standards in any capacity when apologizing. It doesn't feel sincere. We agreed on a date and time of pickup. They showed up with a moving truck while Ken, he really is a godsend of a friend, was working on some repairs for me and collected everything they had at the house. It's gloriously empty now. I've never thought I'd empathize so much with the quiet now, but the shadows are welcoming. Oh, and it's in writing. He's paying me every penny he owes me, or they'll be facing legal action. Ken and I will be going for a much-deserved sushi, sake, and massage, paid for by me, as a treated break from this chaos.
Right.
Love to see it. Thank you, everyone. Sometimes the people pleaser in me needs to remember that myself and my peace of mind are worth defending too. And that, folks, is the end of that story.